Welcome everyone to Comics from the Multiverse, episode 353. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Matt.
Hey, let's go. I got a hockey game to watch.
Always glad to be here, I see. Also, Connor is here as well.
Yeah, but I also have a hockey game to watch, so...
Have you been watching?
I watched the last period of Game 2 while I was at work. I didn't get out of work until
that's
just
out of this series. That's probably the best period to watch. So
yeah,
out.
Yeah.
We had so many technical issues that delayed the starting of this recording for like 30 minutes. We're using new video calling software versus before because for some reason Skype just decided it didn't like Connor's mic anymore, and somehow you two still decided that going into a tangent about freaking ice hockey was the best use of our time at the start of this show.
It literally took you longer to shame us than it did that we talked.
Yeah, this is your punishment.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
any delay you cause, I'm going to amplify.
That's fine. Once the game starts, you will not have my full attention. So
it's about half now, right?
Yep.
Cool.
This is just a shocking state of affairs. This is the DC Comics podcast, everyone. Welcome to the show. We are going to talk about this week's DC books. Coming up, we have Superman issue 3, Nightwing issue 103, The Flash 797, Batman Superman World's Finest issue 14, Batgirls 17, Superboy, The Man of Tomorrow issue 1, and DCeased War of the Undead Gods issue 8. And also probably a Patreon book or two from Connor that he never actually told me about in advance.
Just the one, and I did tell you I was reading a Patreon book.
Yes, you told me you were reading a Patreon book. You never told me what that book was, though.
It was Undiscovered Country because I'm up to date on Robin until next week.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that read Superboy?
I read Superboy.
Okay, cool.
I forgot Superboy existed, but I'll probably have time to read it during one of your...
AKA DC circa 2016.
Very good. So yes, that's the show. Well, we also have solicits though. We got solicits for July this week, so we'll be able to talk about those and hopefully have a jolly good time doing so. So we'll get into everything in just a moment. But yes,
only one problem with this is, unlike the other one we use, it doesn't jump to the front. So when I move tabs over, I can't see you guys.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got it on a separate window in the other monitor.
Yeah, I don't. I have one monitor.
Yeah, you'll be fine. I also have two monitors, but you'll be fine.
That's fine.
What we're saying is get with the times.
No, I have a laptop. It's fine.
Matt's slumming it with a Mac. A very old Mac at that, and one.
No, this is my new. No. I haven't used my old one in a very long time.
Okay.
So yeah,
This is my new old Mac.
Book. Yes, it's a couple years old, but it still works. So I'm gonna make this work. So you guys start. Let's talk about sales.
What's that? What's it always time for, Matt? What's that?
ComiXology top 10.
Right you are. Matt is on the ball. He knows what he's doing today. So yeah, we're gonna look at the sales as of right now. The chart, the sales order for ComiXology. They're separated by Tuesday and Wednesday. So we'll look at Tuesday, which is all DC books first, and then we'll peek in at the rest of the industry from Wednesday. So, what do you think number one was?
I'm gonna say Nightwing 103.
That is incorrect. It is not Nightwing.
Because somehow, don't ask me how, but somehow it's Batman.
No, it's not Batman.
It's Superman.
Superman issue 3 is number one. So there's that. Number 2 is actually DCeased, War of the Undead Gods, issue 8. So final issue of that, getting a little bit of a bump. Number 3 is Nightwing 103. Number 4 is Superboy, The Man of Tomorrow, surprisingly.
Wow.
I guess there's a thirst for Connor Kent.
There is.
Who?
Precisely. Number 5 is World's Finest. Number 6 is The Flash 797. Number 7 is Wonder Woman 798. Number 8 is Black Adam. Number 9 is Static issue 3. And number 10 is Batgirls 17. So unlike the last couple of weeks, there's actually 10 actual single issue releases that could make up the top 10 this week. So That's something. That's worth mentioning. So very cool. But yeah, not really much to report there. Wednesday's books, if we have a quick peek at them. Care to guess?
Some form of X-Men book.
I'm gonna say Nightcrawlers 3.
You're incorrect.
Oh my god, that's the first time.
Some
since
form of
Sinister.
very controversial Spider-Man book.
No.
Is it X-Force?
No.
Well, that would have come under some form of X-Men book. I don't know what else came out. I'm not up to date on Marvel Comics.
Don't tell me it's Hollow's Eve.
No.
Oh my god.
What could it be?
I actually have no idea what is out. I'm gonna have a look.
It's
There's going to be something that would make sense.
the House of Slaughter?
You're telling me it wasn't Amazing Spider-Man 24?
Nope.
Is it a Marvel comic?
It is a Marvel comic, yes, I can confirm.
She-Hulk.
Nope.
Nothing else here should be selling that much.
Hey Matt, no F-bombs on the
I cut it off right at the end.
yeah, okay, alright.
What the hell is it? None of these should be selling more than Spider-Man.
Avengers Assemble Omega.
What?
By Jason
What the hell even
Aaron.
is that?
By Jason Aaron and Aaron Cooder. I don't know, it's $8. But there's number
Wow.
one.
I mean, good for them. But not all what
I
was
didn't
expecting.
realize Aaron was still on Avengers.
He's not in the main
Well,
book. I think this is him like finishing it
him
off.
wrapping it up.
Yeah, and
Yeah, but this is still part of his Avengers run, which is
Mhm.
wild.
I assume so. Yeah. Yeah. Number 2 is Nightcrawlers 3, which is part of the Sins of Sinister stuff.
Yep.
Which has been a safe bet for number 1 on Wednesday for a while. Anything with the Sins of
Mhm.
Sinister banner, but not this week.
Yep.
Number 3 is X-Force issue 39, which is Percy.
Yep.
So
Has been for a while, actually,
Yeah.
like years at this point.
yeah. Well, I thought he was doing Wolverine, but I didn't realize he was doing X-Force for whatever
Yeah.
reason. And then number 4 is Amazing Spider-Man issue 24.
Very controversial book right now, from everything
And
I'm
why,
hearing.
why is that?
Something to do with MJ being lost in a pocket dimension and then dating some other dude,
Oh dear.
Yeah.
and people are mad because the internet.
I mean, I feel like Amazing Spider-Man, one of his biggest sins is just finding ways to break Peter and MJ up just so they can cause
Mhm.
drama. So I suspect that it might stem from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, number 5 is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 107. So good for it.
Cool.
Number 6 is Punisher issue 11. Number 7 is She-Hulk issue 12. Number 8 is Bishop War College issue 3.
Still sounds like an actual school.
Number 9 is New Mutants Lethal Legion. Whatever that is. Number 10 is Warlock Rebirth issue 1. Hey, Rebirth's a DC word. You're not allowed to use that,
It
Marvel.
is. However, they're trying to get their Adam Warlock stuff out before Guardians in 2 weeks.
Is that
So,
that
makes
soon?
sense. Yeah, it's here in
Damn.
2 weeks.
I guess so. Yeah.
You guess so. You had no idea either.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but Pete's out on superhero movies, Connor. So
No, I'm aware, but
Yeah.
it says a lot. I went to the cinema last week for the 1st time in years, and I got trailers for the new Transformers movie. So it's not like it was like outside of what I was going to see as the audience. But I did not get a Guardians trailer, which is kind of weird.
what'd you go see?
I went to see Suzumi, which is a new. It's an anime film. It's the
Gotcha.
director Your Name. It's his newest film.
Mhm.
It's very good. It's about a girl who falls in love with a chair. There's context. There is context,
Yeah.
but it's about that ultimately.
Well, you
and
say
some other stuff.
she was looking for some wood, is what you were saying.
yeah, you could say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've not seen a trailer for Guardians at the cinema either. I've been a few times recently.
Oh, I've seen a couple. So I got one before John Wick, and you got one last night.
Because I thought first maybe it's just they didn't want to put it in front of that film. They thought not the audience, but then
Yeah.
they showed the Transformers trailer. So
God, that movie looks like garbage. Like even more so.
no, it looks amazingly shite.
Yes.
I'm there for it. Not in the cinema, but I'm there for it.
I mean, it doesn't look any worse, certainly, than the Michael Bay ones. It can't.
No,
it
but
can't possibly look worse than those.
Last night, my wife explained to me, goes, "Why is Optimus Prime a gorilla?" And that's a great question. So,
but Optimus Prime isn't a gorilla. There's another gorilla.
no, but I'm sure there's timey-wimey elements, if I know my Beast Wars. So,
I'll take your word for it, Matt.
Yep.
Yes.
Transformers fans are a different thing altogether.
they are. I will say, I appreciate they look like the G1 designs. That's cool, but you still...
they're continuing them from the Bumblebee movie. They've basically used Bumblebee as a soft reboot, where they're just kind of continuing with how they looked in that.
Because it's the best Transformers film?
Easily.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But do you know there's another Transformers movie next year?
No?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about this not long ago.
Yeah, there's another one
Okay,
next
well,
year.
Yeah, I didn't realize it.
There's another one next year, which I think is like a prequel set in Cybertron.
Yes.
What I say? Yeah.
It's a Cybertron Origins.
So it's just going to be a CG movie?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
going to be all CG.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
But hey, you know. Oh.
I cannot believe Guardians is coming out in 2 weeks and I've not seen a single trailer for it.
It looks like it's going to make me cry.
I haven't even had to
like
actively
ugly
avoid
cry.
this. They've just not been there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I saw part of a trailer just online at some point. Maybe it played before a YouTube video or something, but...
This will be the real test. You know, people keep saying, oh, superhero movies are dead. This will be the real test. I did see that the second Shazam movie made less money than Morbius.
It did, yes. It
Which
absolutely...
I think is just funny.
It tanked. It was set out to die, to be fair, but it tanked.
It was, but objectively funny.
Hey, I know that Mitch Garrett's son loved it. So
Yeah, look,
it gets the seal of approval.
I've seen a few people who say, you know, it's actually quite fun, but also, who cares?
I mean, I'm going to watch it when it hits Max. So
there's just been too many to be excited about a passable movie, you know? Or something that's just a bit of fun.
Yeah.
There's too many now for that to be enough.
I think if because obviously Ant-Man didn't do super hot, and then there was the Shazam, but I think if Guardians underperforms, that'll be a sign of maybe the bubble is
this summer
bursting.
alone, we're going to have Guardians and then Flash and then Blue Beetle. So we'll see.
Yeah. Flash is a real movie.
Yes, Flash is a real. I got a trailer for that last night again. Being up on the big screen and seeing Michael Keaton in the light, very weird.
Do you know what? My favorite part of when I saw the trailers in front of that film is they showed the short version of the Flash trailer and then put a thing at the end going, see the full trailer online. I'm like, I am in the cinema. This is where you're supposed to show me the trailers and advertise me to come back here, and you can't be bothered to show it.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, that's a ComiXology top 10, apparently. Although we veered into other territory as it went on. Arguably. So that'll do that. We do have solicits to go through, so we should probably get started on those. We have July solicits to look at, which I've not even glanced at these yet. So this is like a journey of discovery. We'll see what's here, and discover all
some
the
new number ones. But that's all I know.
Yeah, well, I don't even know what they are. So first up was Night Terrors issue 1. We knew this was coming. We've heard about a lot of the miniseries that are going to be playing out. Well, just two-part. Yeah, there was 2-issue miniseries that are all sort of tying into this, that are all coming out.
Yeah, and this is just a 4-issue mini.
And the main book's only 4 issues. I did not realize that. So this is Joshua Williamson writing with Giuseppe Camuncoli and Casper Wingard on art,
which is a fantastic art duo.
Yeah.
You know, like more on this later when we talk about Superman 3. It's hard to get excited for Joshua Williamson on a book right now, I'll be honest. So
someone finally coming around to my point of view.
I'm just you know, I'm not super enthusiastic about his name, right? We have Hot Girl issue 1, which we knew about from before. This is Jadzia Axelrod and Amanki Hulpin on the art. It's a 6-issue miniseries starting in July. We have World's Finest Teen Titans issue 1, which of course we spoke about in the news last week. And this is Mark Waid and Emanuela Lupacino spinning out of the World's Finest book, 6-issue miniseries. I think we were debating last week because it wasn't clear if it was a mini or not.
Right.
But here it is.
Here it's very clear.
Yeah, black and white, issue 1 of 6, which honestly makes sense, but because it did sound kind of weird that it might be an ongoing last time. This feels a bit more natural for what it
black
is.
and white?
No, he meant black and white, like cut and dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say because I was like, they're trying that again.
No.
They had the Gotham book.
I just meant the information is there in black and white. It's a regular comic book. Superman: The Last Days of Lex Luthor, the other Mark Waid book that was announced with Brian Hitch on art. This is the spiritual sequel, or whatever you want to call it, to Birthright. Black label book, super interesting. 3 oversized issues. This one is.
Let's see if they can hit on monthly with Hitch.
Were they promising monthly though?
I don't know, but it's oversized, so it might be every other month. But
Yeah,
I mean, it's 48 pages. It's $7.
I would expect, like, my default expectation for that would be every other month, not every month.
Yeah.
that's fair. I wonder if they just kind of, with Hitch being infamously slow, like maybe they kind of got it finished before they even solicited.
Yeah.
Very, very possible. Or they waited till there was maybe like 5 pages left of issue 3, and
they went, okay, we can probably start now, and it'll just about finish in time.
we may have to delay the last issue by a few weeks, but
yeah,
nothing too bad. We got Batman Beyond Neo Gothic issue 1. This is one I did not know about. This is Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing with art by Max Dunbar. So this does not say one of anything.
Didn't they do a Batman Beyond series already?
They did. They did the Neo year, so this is the sequel to that.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe they've just forgot to put it in, but I don't see any 1 of 6 or anything like that.
No.
So
no, and Batman Beyond as a comic sells pretty consistently. I mean, it had a comic for years.
How long did we talk about that? Yeah.
Yep, that's true.
Oh.
So it probably is just ongoing because it is guaranteed at least a certain amount of sales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not going to say the name of the artist who's done the 1 in 50 variant. I'll get banned off YouTube. So. I was just waiting for the reactions. I was like,
it was a slow.
They're looking for it.
The thing is, I forgot to go to the 1 in 50, so I was going down all of them, going, that's not that bad. That's not that bad. And then I got to
okay. Yes. Name is spelled Dike, just in case anyone.
Let's just say it's Deke.
Sure. We'll go with Deke. I mean, it is obviously, judging by the last name, I assume it's it may have a pronunciation that's not what I'd expect, but anyway, we got Adventures of Superman John Kent issue 5, penultimate issue of the Tom Taylor mini that's going on right now. We have Batman: The Adventure Continues season 3. We have Batman: The Brave and the Bold issue 3. Are these just alphabetical order this time? I feel like they're
That's what it feels like right now.
They keep changing the goddamn ordering of these. So we got
probably
that
because DC fired all their people that deal with this stuff, and it's just whoever throws it together each month does it a different way.
Batman: The White Knight Presents Generation Joker issue 3. So next one of those. We got Batman Superman World's Finest issue 17. What's this Power Ranger looking Zord?
I know. I was just thinking
on the cover here.
World War AI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Oh, there's some nice covers actually. This one.
Yeah, and still
1 in 50 cover. Yep, 1 in 50 cover by that same artist. So.
So it is. Oh.
Yeah, but there's also a McKelvey variant. So
yeah, I think the McKelvey variant has Mockingbird on there. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have the Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries issue 10. We have Batman Incorporated issue 10. Which I keep forgetting.
I forgot it existed. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep forgetting it's a thing. And then we have City Boy issue 3. A really interesting cover there. I'm sure it's not finished yet. It's just in black and white, but
yeah, I've been really Mikhail Jung on art. I've been really enjoying their work on Dr. Aphra, the Star Wars book. I'm assuming they're not anymore. I'm obviously behind, but they were the regular artist on that book for like at least 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. So we got that. We got Danger Street issue 7 out in July, which is cool.
Sinkiewicz's Creeper cover is nice.
The Creeper cover, you say? Oh, yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah.
Very good. We got Dark Knights of Steel issue 12. This is finally ending. Probably this has to be like a year after what it would have ended if it stayed monthly. because there's been so many delays between every issue of this for the last, like, it does feel like a year at this point. DC Ruby issue 6. We have Harley Quinn Black and White plus Redder issue 1. So very good. So it's a new. So it's like they did last time. It's the black and white with red, but this is a second miniseries in that style. So
it's got Zdarsky, Leah Williams, Paul Scheer, who's a comedian, Nick Giovanetti. So it's like it's 4.
Hey, the first series of this was like mostly really fun. Like obviously they weren't all amazing, but you know, a lot of them were well worth reading.
Yeah. We have Justice Society of America issue 7. Cool cover. We got the Lady Wildcat on the front there, which is nice. We have Night Terrors issue 2, also solicited here further down in the list. So yeah, that's
a cool cover. That is gothic.
Yeah. Yeah,
is that Sandman on the cover?
Yep.
It looks like Wesley Dodds.
Yeah, okay. Oh, the second cover's the Matina cover with the Sandman mask and
just the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was like World War One.
I was gonna say it looks very Mad Max to me.
Yeah,
It looks
that too.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like the homage cover at the end to oh my god.
Yeah.
Death in the Family.
Death in the Family. Thank you.
Okay, that's interesting. So then we got Night Terrors Action Comics issue 1. I'm just going to run because we went through these before.
Are these alongside the main book, or the main book's taking a break for those months?
No, these are alongside. These are like when they do the like breaks.
Basically, think about it when the Flashpoint was coming out. You got all those miniseries tying in.
Yeah.
This is basically a series of 2-issue minis, and because it's only 4 issues, double shipping, only the last 2 months. So these are all 2-issue minis. So I'm just going to list the titles here because we already talked about what all these were like when they get announced like a week or 2 ago. So we got Night Terrors Action Comics, Night Terrors Angel Breaker, Night Terrors Batman, Night Terrors Black Adam.
March on Batman.
Oh yeah. We spoke about this.
With Josh Williamson too. So you guys are gonna be thrilled.
Night Terrors Catwoman, Night Terrors Detective Comics, Night Terrors First Blood, Night Terrors The Flash, Night Terrors Green Lantern, Night Terrors Harley Quinn, Night Terrors The Joker, Night Terrors Nightwing, Night Terrors Poison Ivy, Night Terrors Punchline, Night Terrors Ravager.
Has anything not got a Night Terrors tie-in?
Night Terrors Robin, Night Terrors Shazam, Night Terrors Superman, Night Terrors Titans, Night Terrors Wonder Woman, and Night Terrors Zatanna. There better be nothing after Zatanna because it starts with a Z. God damn it.
I'm putting this out there. I don't want to read all of those.
I mean,
there's too many.
I'll be picking and choosing. There's definitely some creators that look interesting, some less so.
Yeah.
Because some of them, like, they're by the writer who's doing the book, like the ongoing. So, like,
I feel relatively pretty relevant.
The Shazam one is Mark Waid, and he's doing the Shazam book. So I'm more inclined to want to read that because it's like, okay, this might thematically tie into whatever he's doing.
And then Ravager is Ed Brisson and Dexter Soy. So that might be worth the check out, even though we're not reading.
But alternatively, Batman by Williamson and March.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't have to feel bad about skipping that. Now there's about 1,000 Night Terrors books. I didn't realize there was this many.
Hey, we've had too many quiet weeks recently. I'm glad there's going to be a big choice of tie-in books to pick from.
About 4 every week.
And then the Wonder Woman one also is Josie Campbell and Stephanie Williams, which
that's good.
we talked about last week.
That's good. Yeah. We got Looney Tunes 273, Mad Magazine 33, Multiversity.
You're not even putting those at the bottom anymore.
I know. Again, it's just alphabetical. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason. Well, there is rhyme and reason. It's alphabetical. But you know what I mean? There's no hierarchy. There's no, like, here's the important things we want to highlight this month. Except Night Terrors issue 1. That was the only thing they got.
No, the Hawk Girl issue 1.
All the issue 1s did, sorry. All the issue 1s did go at the top. But
just thankfully not all the Night Terrors tie-ins issue 1s.
I might have to pick up this facsimile for
My Greatest Adventure issue 80 facsimile edition.
That's the first appearance of Doom Patrol.
Peacemaker Tries Hard issue 3. We have the Sandman Universe special Thessaly. Did I pronounce that?
Connor, give us a ruling.
Yeah.
Thessaly.
Yeah.
I don't know. We got some creepy, kind of attractive chick doing a bit of the Al Snow gimmick with
I'm here for it.
I don't have the. This is where it's cut off. Halfway through Night Terrors, I lost the covers.
All
so.
right. She's holding a head, Matt, is what I meant by the
Gotcha.
Arsenal gimmick.
Everybody loves that.
Everybody wants head. Yep. Absolutely. Spirit World issue 3. Do you know what? In the corner of my eye, I thought that said Space World issue 3. I thought, what are DC publishing?
Oh, I'd read that as well.
Yes.
Are they adapting the movie, or is it a sequel?
Oh my god, a sequel to that? Where they are now?
On this issue, Ginger Space takes on Darkseid.
You know,
Tell me you don't want to see it.
I would buy that, but
Me
we
too.
already have a predilection, so
Oh, dear.
It would sell.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. The anti-life equation. No, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. The anti-life equation.
gosh, she just annoys the piss out of him until he gives up.
Oh dear.
Why is this not real?
Static Shadows of Dakota issue 5. Steelworks issue 2. Written by
It's the
Michael Dorn.
book.
Yeah, you weren't here for the rest of this, I think, Connor, but Worf is writing a Steelbook.
Yeah, I know. I saw there's a lot of controversy about it.
Is
There's
there?
a lot of people not happy. Basically, in the massive lineup of books they kind of recently announced for like the Dawn of DC stuff, there is significantly less women writing books than there were before. And then they're like, oh, and we're just getting celebrity writers now because they can just slap that on instead of having women writers. And people are not happy online. And I don't know. Maybe he'll actually make a perfectly good.
I mean, it's not just a random. Yeah, he did play Steel.
No, because he hasn't.
Right? No, he has. Wasn't he the voice?
Oh, you're right. No, he was. He was the voice of the animated movie.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
So
yeah,
you know, it's not like they just pulled a celebrity like, hey, you want to write a comic? You know. So, but I understand the frustration. You know.
This week, Ginger Space rates the new Doom Patrol comic.
Also,
You know what?
would read.
Yeah.
Tell me you wouldn't.
Yes.
I can't.
The narration is just going to be tell me what you want, what you really, really want, and then Robot
Yeah,
Man's
those
like,
songs
a
should
human
become one.
body! I want a human
Yeah.
body! Anyway, yeah, so, I don't know. Well, we'll see what it is. I mean, obviously it's got a huge question mark over it, because who knows what Michael Dorn is like as a writer, but, yeah, so that's still coming. Superboy, The Man of Tomorrow, issue 4 is out. We'll be talking about issue 1 of that a bit later. Superman Lost, issue 5. Covers for this have been typically very good, you know. Superman in space, here with Wonder Woman specifically.
The Jay Lee cover is spectacular.
Is that the
The last one.
yeah, the white suit, yeah.
Yeah.
The blinding white. I guess if anything, actually, I suppose that's meant to mimic the Krypton outfits in the movie, in the first movie.
Haha, there
Oh,
they
yeah.
go. All I did was reload. Hey, you can't get me.
Why was that not the first thing you tried?
Well, but it's just because I didn't know I had to see the Superman Lost
God.
covers. So.
Matt needs to like just get a nice new computer. You know, nothing fancy, just
It's not that. I just think it's the browser. I really do.
something built this century would be just nice.
Brother, this computer's only 3 years old.
It doesn't act like it.
No, it's fine. Like, it works enough. It just, if I'm recording video or if I'm on, it just takes a minute on the browser.
It's
that's
a
all.
potato, is what you're telling me. It is a potato.
It's not a potato. You know what? When I go to work overtime on Sundays and I'm watching horror movies via Shudder, it works fine. That's all I need. So
Okay,
we're good.
All right. Tales of the Titans issue 1. What is this? So
This is the stuff that they're doing for spinning out the Mark Waid stuff, I think. Not the Mark Waid, the Nightwing.
the Titans
Titans.
book. Yeah.
Yes.
It seems like it's origin stories for them.
Okay.
Yep.
The 40-page, $5 book. Shannon Hale and Dean Hale writing with Javier Rodriguez on the art. So it's got a cover by Nicholas Scott.
It seems like they are taking on the original stories that had their origins in them. Because
I mean, I'll say this: it does feel like a commitment here between Nightwing spinning out into a new Titans book by Taylor that's prominent with a good artist. Is it also doing these one shots or whatever they are, doing origins for each of the characters? It does kind of feel like they're trying to really prop them up as like heavy hitters in the universe right now, which is good. So
As they should be.
Yeah, I'm not.
I love Starfire, so without a doubt, I will be buying this one.
Shocking.
Yes.
The Vigil issue 3, Waller versus Wildstorm issue 3. We got Wildcats issue 9, Absolute Watchmen 2023 edition. Hold on a minute.
How many? So if someone got every edition of Watchmen, how full of a shelf do they have of just Watchmen?
They need an entire house.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, do you know what? I actually think a lot of the regular books are taking the months off for all these
Night
Yeah.
Terrors.
Night
Yeah,
Terrors.
there was no action. There's no detective.
No detective, yeah, no action,
So when I asked,
no Superman.
turns out I was right to ask.
I wasn't expecting it, but now we're at the end of the alphabet. I'm like, where the hell are all these other books?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess it's going to be Night Terrors month for 2 months later in the year.
Night Terrors month for 2 months.
You know what I mean? 2 Night Terrors. Shut up.
Hey, you said it.
Aye. Okay, that kind of bums me out. Like, see when they do like villains month or zero month and it's all zero issues. Like, I don't like that. I want my regular books. I want my
You
regular
don't want
ongoing
gimmick
books.
month.
Like, I'm fine with the option to get extra things. I don't want to lose all my monthly comics though.
Yeah, but alternatively, comics are expensive now, and they know that, and they're like, hey, if we slap on 50 books on top of everyone else's already,
Oh, sure.
most people are relatively at the higher end of their budget on their pull list already. If they slap on a shitload of books, how many people can actually buy most of them?
Well, I'll probably be reading more of those Night Terror minis than I thought I was then, based on this.
Yeah, it's not quite as
I
bad.
mean, if we're already reading them, so like the Green Lantern, right? I'm
Yeah.
already planning on reading Green Lantern. That's the same team, so that's just.
Well, yeah, but those were the ones that we
plug
would
in.
be definitely reading, even if we still had all the
Right.
regular books. I feel like now,
Right.
because a lot of the regular books are taking those 2 months off, that we'll probably be
Yeah.
less strict about which ones we're going to read.
Like,
Instead of having 12 extra books to read, it's, well, 9 of those you were going to read anyway, and it's only 3 extras.
There'll probably be a few more read that wouldn't otherwise. But
I mean,
so that's...
Pete, we're already kind of out on Batman, and now you had March on art, and like, it makes it easy to not want to read it.
Oh,
that month.
is this going to be the same problem? Do you remember what was the shitty event? Convergence. And then you just didn't come back for certain books afterwards because you were like, well, 2 months off kind of killed my interest.
I don't think that'll be a problem here just because we have the show, so we're inclined to come back and read. But
something like you're saying, you're kind of feeling already.
I mean, we're
relatively out
already on
Batman.
the outs with Batman, and like,
well, no, you're saying that, but I have no intention of stopping reading it.
yeah, I do.
Oh, of course you do.
Will I? Probably not, but
You'd love any excuse to at least pretend you're going to start reading Batman.
yeah, because you know what? I have more flipping Batman comics than I'm comfortable with.
But
So if
most
I
of
could
them are
stop
great.
buying them,
Most of them are great, to be fair. It's just the main one that's kind of shit. And disappointingly so, because I expect better from Zarsky.
right?
But yeah,
But,
we really did
I have
not
no
like-
opinion yet because I'm not
Yeah.
up to date. I've not. I think I finished the last arc, but I'm not on the new one yet.
We like we've
Have fun.
been kind of mixed on the art, but we both hated the last issue. Like we were just.
I saw the reaction from one of you. I can't remember who it was,
Yeah.
and I went, oh, well, I'm less excited to catch up on that now.
Yeah, not feeling it. Anyway, so the collected editions I'll just run through very quickly. Absolute Watchmen new edition, because they'll keep that in print forever, so they never lose the
Yeah.
rights.
But this time it's an absolute edition.
True, yeah.
The best way to read it.
So they have
Probably.
absolute rights. Yes.
those 9x9 panels are going to look fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Batgirl Volume 8, Joker War.
Oh, this is the Cecil Castellucci stuff.
I guess they never get around to the paperback of that.
I guess not.
Okay, fair enough. Because that was a while ago now.
Yeah.
Batman: The Audio Adventures, Batman Detective Comics Volume 5, Joker War, which I guess is around the same time. And these all must have had hardcovers first, and the soft
Yeah,
covers are just so much
these
later.
are paperbacks, which are at least a year later for paperbacks. Is the general rule.
They just
so-
feel ancient now when I talk.
Yeah.
We got a reprint of the Golden Age Omnibus for Batman Volume 1. I do love that they're keeping these things in print. I actually think it's really cool that they're going out their way to print these every couple of years. Batman Justice Buster Volume 1.
Looks manga.
Yeah, this is like a graphic novel.
It is very manga, but hey,
Judging by the written or the artist and
it's
writer,
a cool
I would
looking
say-
cover.
We got Batman Nightwatch, Soft cover, we got Batman Under the Red Hood Deluxe Edition.
Might pick that up.
Yeah. So that's getting a big fancy reprint. Batman Wayne Family Adventures Volume 1.
What is this?
I don't know.
I think I know what
Webtoons stuff.
Yeah, the webtoon
Yes.
stuff. I read the first like 8 of those, and it was
Yeah.
really fun. And I do intend to go
Okay.
back, but I will probably just pick this up instead and have it formatted more how I like to read comics. Because webtoons, if you're not familiar, it's one continuous scroll.
Gotcha.
It doesn't have page breaks necessarily. You just keep going and going and going. So I prefer to read it reformatted like this.
Yeah, that's cool. That seems like in the kitty type stuff.
Yeah,
Like
it's
you know.
really like family friendly stuff.
Yeah.
But it's good.
We got Batman Incorporated Volume 1. We got Batman the Joker the Deadly Duo Deluxe Edition. That's getting a deluxe edition like right out the gate. What the hell?
I mean, when you pay for Mark Silvestri, you're gonna try to.
You might as well. Art's the
Yeah.
whole showcase, right?
Yeah.
World's Finest Volume 2. We got Batman Adventures Omnibus. Oh, that's interesting. Getting an omnibus. Darkness of Steel Volume 1. Softcover. DC Ruby. DC versus Vampires Volume 2. Hardcover. Skip it, everyone. It's fine. Skip it.
Yeah.
That was All Out War Part 2 as well.
That's
so
All Out
definitely
War,
skip
yeah.
it.
Wait, All Out War got 2 parts?
Yeah.
It
This is
collects All Out War 4 to 6 and DC versus Vampires.
Oh, I guess there was
Killers.
I guess I had another one shot it included with the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Still pretty tight.
Yeah.
Instead of just doing an 8-issue trade, they've done
Two
2
fours.
4 issues.
And the one shots are a bit bigger, admittedly, but yeah, it's a bit in the tight
Yeah.
side from them. I agree.
I don't even remember which one Killers was.
I don't think I read it.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Deceased War of the Undead Gods, hardcover. Look at that, all 8 issues in one collection. How nice of them.
I'm tell you that though. I'm looking forward to the big deluxe of all of Deceased.
Yeah.
Probably more of an omnibus if all of it's in it.
It's gonna be like 20 odd issues, right?
I mean, think about it. You've got
6.
6 and then 3 double-sized issues, so it's effectively 12. Just call it for the sake of page count. And then you've got another 6. You've got at least
then
a one
8.
shot and then an 8. So I feel like that adds up
No,
to.
it's like 25, something like that.
Well, didn't the first one have the one shot, or was that later?
First one had a one shot as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, maybe it's a small omnibus.
I would say it's a
Yeah.
smaller omnibus rather than just the deluxe, but you got Diana and the Hero's Journey, one of these original graphic novels. We got
She's got a goat.
GCPD, The Blue Wall, hardcover.
Very good. People should pick it up.
Yeah, I'm glad that's got a hardcover. That felt like one they might just skip that and go straight to softcover. So
I think it's just prestigious enough that it'll sell nicely as a hardcover.
Oh well, and 25 for a hardcover is not bad either. So.
No.
And then we got Gotham City Year 1, also hardcover, unsurprisingly. Harley Quinn Volume 4, Harley Quinn the Animated Series Eat Bang Kill Tour, and then Animated Series Legion of Bats, and then we got I Am Batman Volume 3, The Joker, The Man Who Stopped Laughing Volume 1, with a Behermo cover, which is obviously very nice. Joker 1 Operation Joker Volume 1.
It looks like another manga one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Nightwing Fear State. Obviously, the Fear State arc of Nightwing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nightwing, the Joker War, Robin and Batman. That's a Jeff Lemire. It's a softcover version of it. And then we got Spy versus Spy Omnibus. We have Superman versus Meshi. Volume 1. Not a manga. I guess this is a
food manga.
This is a thing they're doing, I guess, in the month. Is they're doing like 3 or 4 manga books.
It's Superman doing battle with lunch. Why am I engrossed?
Because you like food and you like Superman, I guess.
Yeah, not a fan of Japanese food though, so this is a struggle for me, baby.
You can't beat a nice katsu curry, Matt. Come on.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, katsu's not, it's not what I immediately think of. But yeah, well.
And you can get sushi that's not raw fish.
Oh, no, you can. I just don't eat fish that often. So, yeah.
Yakisoba's Japanese, right?
What's that?
It sounds Japanese.
Yakisoba.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
I mean, anytime I go to one of those places, I end up getting teriyaki beef or teriyaki chicken.
The thing is, most places over here are not just Japanese. They're like Japanese, Thai, Korean, and you get like a mixture of like that kind of area of Asia.
That used to be the case. I feel like I've got a few dedicated Japanese places now. They've kind of opened up over the last few years.
I don't.
Well, I like them very much.
I'm sure I would like them, but I don't have
my
them.
go-tos. They're very nice. Yeah, teriyaki good. I've definitely liked like teriyaki good most places. I've definitely had a teriyaki that was too bitter for me, and I didn't like it that much. But I've liked it most places. I've tried it. Plus, if you get some free miso soup as a starter, I won't say no to that either. Anywho, Superman Kal-El returns. This is basically the few issues of Son of Kal-El in action when Superman came back from Warworld.
You skipped one.
Yeah.
Superman: The Harvest of Youth by Simon Grace. I think I'm going to pick this up. I did not know this was unless it's just a
I assume it's a graphic novel.
Yeah, it's the YA graphic novels.
Okay.
I can just kind of tell by the covers. They just have a look to them versus the regular trade.
That's called smart marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't critiquing it. We got Superman Red Sun, new edition, softcover. We got Vixen NYC Volume 1.
Webtoon again.
Another webtoon, yeah. Which again, they've got their own banner, which is fine. Wonder Woman in Black and Gold, softcover. And that wraps up the solicits. That was a really weird solicits because they didn't.
Yeah, it was.
We went through it much quicker than normal as well because
you went through all the Night Terrors books previously.
Yeah.
So you were just kind of rushing through them, thinking, we'll get to the actual stuff, and then there was no actual stuff.
That was like the vast majority of the line. So what did we actually have that wasn't Night Terror? Just to sort of glance, we got the new Hawkgirl mini, the new Teen Titans mini, the new Black Label Superman book, and other than that, John Kent still there. But World's Finest is still coming out.
Vigil, Spirit World, Sandman Universe one shot,
Danger Street,
City Boy,
Steelworks, Superboy, Superman Lost.
It's basically all the bigger ongoings aren't there. Like there's no Superman, Batman, Detective Action, Flash, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern. Like all those are off for the month.
Feels weird. Green Lantern's not that far in.
No, I'll be a few issues in when this happens.
Yeah, that's a weird break for that to have.
Although I think that was one of the ones that had its team or its writer at least on the Night Terrors book, so maybe it'll feel like it fits in.
Part of it, yeah.
Let's have a check.
If there's Jeremy Adams, which it might be.
It is, yeah.
So, okay. Oh well. I guess we're in for Night Terrors, whether we like it or not at this point.
Yeah. I just wasn't expecting it to be that much. I kind of hadn't kept up. I took like vague awareness that this is what's happening. There's tie-ins, but I just assumed it was the usual amount of tie-ins, not 1,000.
If they had mentioned before now that a lot of the regular books were taking the 2 months off, I definitely missed it because this was a surprise to me. So I will say I'm not thrilled about that. I don't like when they do that. And to be fair, it's the first time it's happened since we started this show. They've actually not done it since we started.
Yeah, it was a lot during the New 52.
Yeah.
Obviously, every year for the first 4 years, and then you had the Convergence event.
Yeah, and that was like the farewell to that format.
Yeah.
But even then, that was just because they were moving office and they needed some sort of filler for 2 months.
They had to have something coming out, otherwise it was that or nothing.
Yes. Nothing might have been the better choice.
Possibly, yeah.
I'm a big fan of nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes the heart grow fonder.
Exactly. Absence and all that.
And instead you kind of went, I guess I don't need to read these anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely dropped off a lot of things after Convergence. I just got used to not reading comics for a little while.
Mm.
And then Rebirth pulled me back in.
And here we
Smash
are
cut
now.
6 years later, we're having technical difficulties.
It was all Skype.
Yeah. I'm not putting any blame on anybody, I'm just saying.
Alright, let's talk about some comics then, starting with Superman issue 3, Joshua Williamson writing with Jamal Campbell on the art. So, we had the city infested with parasite clones, or everyone was turned into parasites.
And Parasite was going microscopic and spreading virally. Almost.
Infected Superman at the end of the issue as well, yeah. So I was not a big fan of this issue for a couple of reasons. I felt like I really liked the creepiness of this like setup of the city being infested with parasites and Superman creeping around and trying to deal with that. And I felt like they just fixed this status quo as quickly as humanly possible in the most dull and uninteresting way possible. Like, I got nothing out of the... Like, I didn't enjoy this resolution. It felt like I wasn't ready for a resolution. I'm like...
It felt like half of a story.
Yeah. I you know, obviously...
Anyone else feel like it like missed an issue?
Yeah. If anything, I felt like it was missing like the second half of an arc and just sort of skipped to the end.
So the last issue ended with Superman starting to feel like the parasite stuff taking over. This one, it starts with him being kind of half parasite. And then we don't even spend time with him, you know, not a lot of time with him going through the parasite stuff before he gets what essentially would be, if like this is a cartoon, the new toy, right? Like he gets that suit.
And then he's like, oh, he's kind of fine now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's already like at Lex at the start of the issue, and I'm like, like, give us some of him like struggling to comprehend what he's going through or something. I don't know. It felt just like it was rushing through to an end point, and I didn't.
Especially for the fact like it didn't seem like Clark like processed the planet being, you know, the Daily Planet being parasite, you know, ized. He just kind of, you know, realized that it was going
the whole
microscopic.
ending of the last issue, right? And then it was just...
And then boom, we're moving on.
That's why I felt like I missed an issue, like in between, like oh, we're here now. We're doing this already. Like, what happened?
Yeah. Other than that, though, I did like a lot of the stuff with Lex and Superman having to work together. That kind of begrudging respect, where
I like the end point of that, but again, it feels like this arc wasn't important. Like they just needed this as the setup for the context of, oh, we can have this new dynamic between Lex and Clark.
Right,
that's all we're using this arc for.
After 3 issues, I get, but I feel like when you bring in someone as big as Parasite and you make it a viral type thing, you need more than 3 issues. Like they could have done anything else to make us put Lex.
The problem for me is that this like setup that they did in the last couple issues with Parasite was far more interesting to me than everything else they're doing. And it being brushed aside quickly just as an excuse to get to the point where Lex is ready to, or Superman's ready to work with Lex, just feels like you're brushing past everything I liked about it. So I was actively annoyed, and like none of the resolution felt like it was earned or climactic, which honestly feels like a very consistent Joshua Williamson problem. This was something that came up a lot in his Flash run, especially later on, where it felt like things would just kind of end in the most like convenient way they could. Like here, Lex just solves the problem for Superman really quickly with a suit, and it's like, you know, it's like nothing. There's no struggle. There's no build up to it. It's just it's over already. And
it's almost like Lex had this drawn up, and that's not what the story is. These are the people that Lex made enemies of that are now going to make tough, things tough for Superman. There we go. But that's, but again, it felt like just the new toy. Like, oh, here we go. This is the new suit for Superman.
It almost feels like here's the new action figure we can make.
Yeah. This shit doesn't look that good either.
But it reminds me of one of the toys I had when I was younger from the animated series. It was like something like Krypton Superman, and it was kind of a version of Jor-El stuff with that big dome. Meant to look like a spacesuit. And I was like, okay, like whatever. It kind of was feeling like, to me, when Tynan was doing Batman and we kept getting new Bat tech, just because like he was finally able to write the mainline Batman. He's like,
At least with that, I can understand the desire. Like, hey, Batman has gadgets. Let's give him cool gadgets every issue. Right? There's at least a logic there you can follow. Whereas this isn't as forgiving. Superman a new suit because reasons.
Yeah, I think the other thing I don't like about this is that I think it loses all of the atmosphere the last issue had. The last issue, it set up this creepy city that Superman was in that was kind of like missing all of the people, and it's just all replaced with these monsters. And instead of him trying to have to navigate through that, we just cut to him already being at the other location with Lex, and I'm like, where was my creepy
There's
journey?
A city full of people out there, allegedly.
But I don't know. it just robs it of any of its like stakes or meaning to me. I wasn't feeling it at all. So like the first half of this issue just was such a big disappointment and just kind of shat away everything that it set up that I liked previously, that it was hard to really just kind of get into it or enjoy anything for what it was. You know, after that you got Lois and Clark kind of reconciling. Well, you know what I mean? Like they're everything's back to normal.
She's no longer Parasite. He wanted to say zombified, but they weren't zombies. So, you know, I don't have a good
possessed kinda. I guess
possessed kinda, yeah. Also, like I wanted a bit more resolution with Parasite. It was just kind of like, oh, I have the green light to consume all these little ones. You know, kind of like, what if Parasite didn't want to? What if he liked being viral? You know, like, because it allowed him to eat more.
Yeah,
you know?
but they went on the loop of they will give you more energy, which like I'm a bit confused because it's like if they're already him,
right?
Like, what's the difference?
Right. He would see that as a parasite wants to spread, right? Like biologically speaking, you know, a perfect parasite doesn't kill its host. I learned in biology. You know, along those lines, if it's going to split that many times, he's just going to keep going with it.
It's something to do with the Sage Force.
Yeah, maybe, right? Yeah, this felt reminiscent of that a little bit. Where, yeah.
Just because?
Just
don't. I think it Lex that says, hey, don't overthink it.
Very much, yeah. That's just always kind of feeling from it. And then from that, you have Superman coming to Lex thinking he's there to gloat or whatever, but he's like, no, here's a Superman watch. I love how his watch for, calling him on it is actually engraved in the back with the logo as well. I'm like, what jeweler did he take this to get this like fancy?
I feel like that's Superman going like, yep, the symbol has to touch Lex. That's why it's engraved on the back.
He definitely just did it with his heat vision himself.
That too.
Very precise.
I do like the idea of Lex having a Superman watch though, because there's just something about that. Because we all know he's going to abuse it at a certain point.
Yeah. And obviously the last couple of pages, once again, is the tease of like this group of villains that are coming against Lex, which, again, just going back to this arc feeling condensed into 3 issues, so not living up to any of its potential, it makes this tease for these real villains have less bite, because I'm like, well, I felt shortchanged on this arc, so it's hard not to feel like I'm going to feel shortchanged by the time we actually get to this stuff.
I mean, yeah, but I also felt like, okay, if that was the stuff to deal with Parasite and that was their first test, what's Silver Banshee going to be like? Because we get the tease for that.
Yeah,
it's weird. Like you started already fairly big in terms of Superman villains. Parasite's kind of relatively up there, especially in terms of just sheer power levels. Yeah,
outside of Lex, I'd put him in the top 3. Right? You have like Brainiac, Parasite, Metallo probably for me after Lex. So
that's probably fair.
Right. So, but so like, what's Silver Banshee? What are they gonna do with Silver Banshee to make her, more unstable and make it difficult for Superman to deal with? So I kind of like that, but with Williamson, there's kind of a lack of trust. Is that what he's gonna do? Is that his intent, or is this gonna be, Smallville style Freak of the Week? So
yeah, it's hard to say at this point. I mean, obviously the art's fantastic because it's Jamal Campbell.
Campbell's great. There's no doubt about that. Nothing, I don't think, matches the that page from last issue. Looking out over the city with the heat vision, kind of illuminating everything. Nothing comes close to that moment, but it's still great throughout.
I do like when Clark grabs Lois and they go up into the sky. I'm always a sucker for that.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked issue 2, which is why this is so frustrating, because I feel like it just squandered everything I liked about issue 2.
Yeah. No, I get that. I thought you were going to be way more negative on it than when you were kind of hinting earlier, but we kind of lined up. But I still enjoyed myself. It was a quick read. That, if anything, that kind of drove me nuts a little bit more. Because I set aside time to read it. It's a terrible
issue. It's just, it's pretty mediocre. And coming off of a great issue feels worse because of that.
Well, you don't want to take a step back. You want to keep building.
It's part of that, but it's also, I think, a very worrying trend that Williamson keeps feeling like this, where I'm feeling it with almost everything he does. Even that last event, Dark Crisis, like I like most of it, but the ending, the last issue, was definitely one of the weaker parts of it.
I feel he has that issue where he doesn't know how to end things.
Yeah.
Like what story that he's written really feels like it has a good ending that he did? I mean, I feel like
has
Waid
Robin? his Robin series is maybe the only thing that I don't have really any complaints for.
Right.
I don't know, because like I liked what that ended in terms of the Robin book, but also it then immediately had to launch into a Robin crossover, right, with Deathstroke and Batman, and all of a sudden it like kind of just felt like, we didn't actually end. No, we didn't have an ending for this book. We're just setting up this event.
Right, we had Lazarus Planet that it led right into. So,
yeah, it's kind of funny because obviously in some ways he's aspiring to be the new Jeff Johns, and it kind of feels like he has the worst parts of what Johns did, which is he's there to do the events that tease into the next events, and then the books that tease into the next big crossover, which is fine. But the difference is that when Johns was doing that, all of the individual stories, by and large, were extremely good on their own.
Right.
And I think Williamson doesn't quite have that.
Williamson feels similar to how I feel about Marvel TV shows.
Okay.
I'm sure they're all fine. Like none of them I don't think are like really like bad. But by the end of it, it's like, don't worry about this show, but it's the next one. The next one. That's where you want to be excited for.
You're not
and then
wrong.
you get to that one, and then it's the same thing again.
Just to clarify here, you're specifically talking Disney Plus shows because
I am, yes.
Yeah, because otherwise I'd be like, have you got any vanilla, Connor? We'd have to talk about Iron Fist, okay?
Look, they have their own.
No, we don't have to. Don't ever remind me that show existed. Please, as an Iron Fist fan, that show hurt. Man never did kung fu once. He just had a glowy hand.
All I remember is it was about the Rands and the Beechams, the Meachams, or whatever they were called. That was the dad and the son.
It was,
or
hey, you know this really cool kung fu thing that we have? And we could tell a very interesting story that kind of delves into, the whole white savior arc and why it's wrong and how we could build other characters up. Oh, no, we're just going to do a business thing that's not nearly as...
Don't worry about that. There's a yellow fist.
Yeah, it glows. His hand glows, guys.
And it looks cool. Yeah. You can punch stuff really hard.
And then you get the RZA from Wu-Tang to do one episode, and it's the best episode, and you don't ever bring him back? Come on. Ugh.
I've opened the can of worms.
You did.
Yeah.
Anyways, Superman by Williamson. I'm curious to see where it goes, but I do line up with your guys'.
The end result is a mediocre Disney Plus show.
Yeah, and you kind of don't want that with Superman right out the gate, right?
Yeah.
You want it to feel special.
Definitely not 3 issues in. That's that's what's really worrying.
It's sad
that's
that
the end of the
way.
first thing, story. Like,
well, I think that's part of the problem is that this feels like it should be issue 6, not issue 3.
Right.
Yes.
This should have taken a whole arc, a whole regular comic arc, which we typically think of as 6 issues, to wrap up, and we could explore kind of this creepy vibe that it set up in the last issue. But instead, we just skip to the end. It briefly mentions that Clark told Lois about the Phantom lady that showed up.
Marilyn Moonlight.
That was the name. I couldn't remember her name.
Yeah.
I'm going to forget that. I'll probably remember Moonlight before I remember Marilyn. I'll probably call her Madame Moonlight for a while before it sinks in what her name actually is.
I know she does feel like with how they were talking about it, it almost feels like a Spirit of Metropolis thing, which I think is interesting because I don't ever think of, Metropolis is the science city. Gotham is the mystic, creepy city, with the hidden cultures and the Court of Owls, and Metropolis has Intergang and Darkseid popping up.
Yeah, it had a bunch of stuff when it was set up in the Jimmy Olsen book in his that past stuff.
I mean, that was more familial ties and stuff. It wasn't like this.
It was, but it set up like some wider world stuff in there.
Yeah. So,
I mean, if we go all the way back to Kirby's stuff as well, that starts with Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, that's true. But again, that's more sciencey type stuff. That's more sci-fi than something like the spirit of Metropolis. And what does that mean? Who is she in the grand scheme of things? But yeah, I'm sure Lois will figure it out because kind of what her deal is as a reporter. Plus, as editor-in-chief, she doesn't have much to do, I feel. So
that's true.
I don't feel she'll be as hands-on as Perry was.
All right, well, I guess we'll do a ratings for Superman issue 3. Matt, what are you giving it?
I really fantastic art, kind of so-so story. It's 7.5.
Connor?
I agree with the sentence that he said.
But not the number.
But the score is a 6.
Yeah. I think I have to agree with the 6 on this. I think the disappointment of it just kind of throwing away all the cool story that it set up and just hastily wrap it. But you know what? No, I'm going 5.5. I'm going lower than Connor.
I'm literally going 6 because of the art. If the art's mediocre, it only gets a 5. But I'm giving like a full point just for the art being great.
No, they are
Numbers
obviously
are stupid.
Yeah, the art's dragging it up for me for sure. Don't get me wrong. Like if this had mediocre art, it'd probably be under a 5 because the disappointment of what it did to the story would be like putting it in a deficit, basically. So there you go, Superman issue 3. Nightwing 103. Tom Taylor writing with Travis Moore on the art. So Nightwing and the gang go to hell to get the accounting paperwork.
You know what? Other people would kill us for that, but I love that Tom Taylor's way more interested in the bookkeeping of hell.
Do you know
than,
what?
like seeing the hellish stuff of hell.
It made it,
and I appreciate that.
It made it more relatable in a weird way, but honestly, it gave me Cyborg complaining about a cluttered desktop and like someone who doesn't take care of the computer, and that gave me a lot of a joy.
Honestly, it's probably the most I've ever liked Cyborg. Like genuinely, I think that's my favorite Cyborg moment.
So, do you think that hell like tailored itself to whatever Vic Stone thinks?
No, it's just that awful for everyone.
You just think it's that awful by standard, like it would have been that way if Beast Boy had tried to access it too.
Yeah, because it is hell.
Yeah, no one likes to control a computer that's filled.
No,
with
I know,
crap.
but just with how Cyborg does everything out of thought, right? So him having to slow down because of all the icons on the desktop and all the pop-ups and
him being like, hey, guys, if I ask for your date of birth and social security
mother's
numbers,
maiden name,
whatever it was, like just maybe don't answer that.
Yeah, so Neron is getting pressured to go and get the girl because basically everyone in hell's starting to like question that he's like, his stands. He's kind of like a gangster where he has to show us his strength, right? He's been questioned because he's not got this girl back yet.
Yeah,
so.
you and gangsters, I would have said like Game of Thrones. He's trying to, uphold his lands. And now we've got all these rivals coming up and being like, yo, you're not as tough as you used to be. And he's like, yeah, once I get this paperwork filed. and Blaze is like, paperwork? You real? Which, has Blaze always been a female character?
I have no idea.
I don't really remember very much.
Yeah. I remember there was
he
Blaze
doesn't want to go down for
Satanus.
dodgy tax returns.
Yeah.
So, where some of the other team, mainly Starfire and Donna Troy, along with Babs, take the girl to Themyscira, and they're like, you know what, you have to be able to protect yourself, so they start off on a jolly little subplot of training her how to fight. So, I mean, they're not going to get much done in the time it takes before she gets kidnapped again, but they can get the basics down.
Yeah.
So, that's where we kind of like have that. The rival, demon or whatever, is like, hey, that's his tower there. His paperwork will be there. Help yourself to it. Like, I'm taking nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Beast Boy transforms into a big demon-looking gargoyle thing to trick the guards.
I do like that though too, that he can transform into any beast, including a hellhound gargoyle. So
makes sense.
I mean, why not? I mean,
they're like, oh, Neron's not here. Never mind then. Let's just take him out.
Honestly, the visual of these old 1980s computers in a room, but and otherwise is in hell, which doesn't have normal looking architecture or anything else, but it's got old computers though.
Yeah. Well, the walls were made up of all of the contracts of hell, right? I thought that was cool. The room that computer's in, right? Or is that the room later?
No, that's the room they go into next.
That's I did like that too, because it took me a second to realize what those were.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this room and I'm like, what's Matt talking about? This doesn't look good.
No. Next page where they go to get the contracts, all just the scrolls.
Yeah. Very different. So basically, they find out that the kid's mom is Jezebel Jet, who's dead. So that's a bit of a no-go.
Did that name ring bells for you guys?
It sounded familiar. I mean, I couldn't have told you much, but
Batman R.I.P. That era.
So Nightwing, it has a plan, and we don't really quite know what his angle is here yet, but it becomes clear later, which is basically that the contract's null and void if both Guardians haven't signed off on it. So his plan is to go and hastily adopt her so that he's the Guardian and therefore has not signed off on her soul.
This is a Wayne family tradition. So just hastily adopting children that maybe...
In his defense, this time it's a temporary fostering.
Yes. It's not a permanent thing. but just enough to. But I love the idea that a demon is going to care about this. Like,
Hey, no,
I do,
demons
because
care about their contracts.
yeah, demons have stupid rules. Like if you know their names, you have power over them.
This
right?
is why Etrigan always
Well, no,
rhymes.
no,
Like,
but-
they have stupid rules like that.
Yeah, but think about it though. Like, I get that demons have their own rules about when they have contracts and bargains with people because that's their whole thing. But I'm saying the fact that they care about the bureaucracy of Earth and how that paperwork functions has to intermingle with their paperwork system.
Yeah, well, we can rationalize it as in order for the ritual to be completed. You know, you can't have a parental figure. You know, by whatever decree. Or,
sure,
I can rationalize it.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I think it's funny. Like it's all. It's all.
I just love how Neron's like, "You got me," and then he's like, "Well, we know." Yeah. He's
well, that's not really true because he's sent the grinning man to go and fetch the kid from Themyscira.
A really good look how he takes on the attributes of who he's copying, right? So when he shows up as Wonder Woman. And then as it slowly starts to reveal it's the grinning man, he still has some of the Wonder Woman costume as he starts to bleed through. It's very creepy.
It is.
It fits really well.
Yeah, but you also get that great panel when he kicks the child across the field at full force.
FTK. F them kids.
Yes. But yeah, you get Wonder Woman transitioning into the grinning man. But he's also brought with him Dr. Polaris, who shows up in another comic this week, which was such a weird coincidence.
Yeah, for real.
And I don't know if that's meant to be any specific gorilla, but
no, they say Grodd.
They say it's Grodd.
Did they say Grodd?
Which I don't know how they would pull Grodd. I mean, unless Grodd has a deal with Neron, right? Because Neron had told Grinning Man that I'm gonna send you with someone else. I assume that was Polaris that made a deal with Neron.
Yeah,
so...
they definitely say it's Grodd though.
When?
Next page.
Really?
Yeah.
Next page, bottom of the second panel.
Because they mentioned Dr. Polaris and.
Okay, yeah, because she's informing them. Okay, yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. So, basically, the end of this issue is that Neron is trying to basically talk Nightwing into signing over the kid and saying, "Hey, give her permission for her soul to be given to me. You know you want to," and is effectively trying to dangle a carrot in front of him by saying, "Hey, think of what you could do if you had, Speed Force powers, or maybe if you had Superman's powers." So he basically gives him some powers, and that's a cliffhanger. Is that basically for one issue, presumably Nightwing is going to go around with superpowers and probably do some good with them. But obviously, he's going to make the choice not.
He doesn't
to
need them.
Yeah,
Nightwing's greatest power is his heart and his ability for compassion.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it'll be like, oh, this isn't worth the deal with the devil.
No.
But I'm
going to take them and do good things with it while I have them.
But yeah, we're going to get an issue where we see him, in this new, yellow and blue suit.
I can definitely see the first part of the issue being like, I'm not going to use the powers. I'm not going to use them at all. And then something will happen and he'll just use them because he can. He won't think
I do like that it's a play on his original Disco Nightwing, right, with the blue and the yellow.
Yeah,
missing the high collar, but
you've got the sort of the glowing aspect, which kind of makes it feel a little bit. I can kind of get the super powered vibe from it.
For sure,
I would never pick
it's
it.
It's a good look. You know?
I would never pick it as a permanent costume, but for a jaunt,
temporary thing. I don't like the variant. The yellow visor kind of pops. It looks great for this.
Yeah, the domino mask.
Yeah.
So that is the main story, and of course there's the backup right now, which is this rope being cut at the circus, and there was an explosion as well, which I'd forgotten about until the ending.
Me too.
The ending was like, oh, by the way, there's still something to solve here. We're not done with this story. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
did you guys feel that this was the first time? Because I was enjoying this for the most part. The dialogue in this felt very misplaced. I don't know if it's because the art of the kid and the dialogue what the kid was saying felt like it should be closer to a teenager, not so much a little kid. You're just thinking this kid's 10 or 11, maybe.
Yeah. So we find out the kid basically cut the rope, and the intent wasn't to cut their parents' rope; it was to cut their own rope to make it look dangerous, so that their parents would say, "You know what? No, you won't be in the circus anymore. You can have a normal kid life." Because the kid feels left out, not going to socialize, not staying in any one place long enough to become friends, things like that, which all makes a reasonable amount of sense. So, Nightwing and John talk to the kid and a bit of a pep talk.
Mm-hmm.
John makes Nightwing feel a little bit better about himself. That's basically it. There's not much
because he was the circus kid that, but it was almost inverted, right? Where he got taken out of the circus, where he,
Yeah, obviously it brings up some memories for Nightwing, and he's thinking about his own origins and past. But I mean, it's okay. Like, obviously, it's not a patch on the main story.
No, I just felt that the dialogue was super weird. Like some of the flow that was coming out of it was just like, this is written by an adult. That's not how little kids talk. So maybe if they'd made a change and made the kid a little bit older, like tweens, early teens. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, but it's not terrible. I like the overall. Once we got to John and him talking.
The problem is if you go too old, though, it becomes a danger of, like, oh, well, you should know better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't be sympathetic to this
right.
if it was like a 16-year-old, because the 16-year-old would just be like, no,
right.
you did something dangerous. We can't just write this off as you're young and stupid.
Right.
like,
right.
So, yeah. I don't know. It's still decent enough to, like, I'm happy enough to read it when I get to the end of the main story in Nightwing.
I gotta know who caused the explosion.
Yeah,
for sure.
With a lot of other books, when I get to the backup, I'm like, you know what? I've had my fill. I'm trained to enjoy a comic of a certain length, and this just feels like extra work. Yeah. So, but the fact that I still want to read this is, a compliment, if nothing else. But, yeah. All right. What we rating Nightwing, Matt?
8.5.
Connor?
I'm gonna be straight 8.
Yeah, I'll go straight 8 too. I'm enjoying this arc. I will say it obviously is a little bit of a tangent, and I do miss just the ongoing Nightwing City, Heartless stuff, which has been ongoing. Mm-hmm. But I probably enjoyed this issue, maybe even maybe not the most, but I think this and the last one were both really solid. I'm enjoying the slightly different nature of it.
So we know it's a temporary fosterhood for the kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we think his sister is going to adopt the kid? Being that she was Blockbuster's assistant and put into the mayoral role.
If maybe Taylor wants to keep her around as a supporting character, then I'd say maybe. Yeah.
I like that, and it actually builds a family for Dick Grayson that's not the Bat family.
Alternatively, if we don't want to keep her around, it'll maybe be someone more distant.
Yeah.
I'll find an uncle or a cousin somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Blockbuster, I'm sure, has some sort of cousin.
I meant the mother's side.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I mean, she was a model. They're not just hatched from eggs, so.
Yeah. Allegedly.
I don't know for a fact, but I can guess.
Yeah. They might.
Wait, I zoned out for a second. Does Matt question how babies are born?
No, models, if they're real people or if they are just hatched from eggs.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Pete was getting ready to have the birds and the bees, and it was going to be super uncomfortable.
Okay. Matt, we have to talk about penises and vaginas. I hope you're braced for yourself. All right. We'll move on then, shall we, to The Flash 797. Jeremy Adams writing with Tom Derenick writing and Serg Acuna on the art. So this is kind of a one and done story for the most part.
Takes place during Linda and Wally reminiscing about their, relationship and going through her book from the annual. So that's why they need Wallace to babysit. So, and hijinks ensue.
I didn't even realize it was specifically set during anything else, to be honest.
No, it says this takes place during the events of the Flash annual.
I didn't read that box. Gotcha. That really matters that much. It's Wallace is asked to look after the kids. He goes to pick them up from school, and it's obviously the two kids plus Maxine's there as well. So I'm loving this continuing friendship of Maxine being the unofficial third kid.
And Jay doesn't really want her there, but it's his sister's friend, so he's gonna try to be nice. But the fact that they hoodwinked Wallace into watching an extra kid and his reaction, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mom knew about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, immediately they get teleported somewhere, and Wallace starts freaking out because he's literally had them under his watch for maybe 10 seconds, and he's already lost them to some sort of weird interdimensional kidnapping. And it turns out to be Knives, who we saw during the when they were hopping universes back a couple of arcs ago. And he's got a team, which I'm now going to read you the names of. From obviously different universes. We have, so along with Knives, we have Dr. Nightmare, who's like a scientist with like a weird VR looking helmet on. We have Reverse Grodd, who's Grodd in a Reverse Flash outfit.
I gotta know what universe he comes from.
We have Mineral Man, which is an evil animal man. We have Foul Play, which is an evil Mr. Terrific. And we have Heatwave Jr., which probably speaks for itself. So wild like multiverse team here. But what's interesting about this is that it kind of sets up this idea that in the future these kids are going to have a team with other characters, because they say, oh, we're back to stop you before you form your stupid team. And it's like, oh, this is interesting. They're setting up the idea that this team that we're meeting
exists
here
sometime.
Well, no, the team of villains I'm talking about. The idea that they are going to be the nemesis to whatever team these kids are going to be in down the line is quite interesting. And then, of course, the big guest surprise of the issue is that the Super Sons show up, but they're, the 12-year-old Super Sons. They're
right from the Adventures of Super Sons book, where they were reality hopping themselves.
Yes.
So was not expecting them, and it was such a delight, because we got the worst version of Davian that's actually the best. The very condescending. Does that a lot, and then super, young, hopeful John.
Wait, so
he's been aged.
Wait, are you thinking this is just the regular universe of them that's just from the past?
I think it's a timey-wimey thing, because this is the adventure they were talking about being on was the one from Tomasi's run.
Okay, all right. I didn't remember that.
I think they're a time-displaced version of those two. They easily could have been from another universe that's very similar, because
I think I was thinking other universe, because I felt like they were setting up that this was going to be the team, that it was going to be young John, Damien, with Maxine, Irene, and Jay.
See, I took this as a team in the future, and that it's going to be John and Damien, and then these guys, and they're a little older, so they're like
when they're all adults.
They're the mentors later down the line, and this is the first time that they've met. I mean, either way, this is what's great about Flash, is that both can be true at a certain point, so it doesn't impact the story any direction.
So anyway, they show up. Obviously, there's some banter. The villains are kind of delightfully silly and weird. There's some back and forth. There is seemingly a bit of a flirtation between Irene and John, which again is why I was thinking that we're going to see these kid versions again for down the line, because kind of weird to set that up if like we're going to have 18-year-old John hanging about with her at any point. So again, it kind of felt like it was trying to set something up here where we're going to return to this potential group of 5 down the line. It is kind of interesting though that if they hadn't aged up John, we could have had this be some sort of new Teen Titans team of like all these kids who are around 10 to 12 years old.
The next Justice League type vibe.
But I mean, like, it was a fun interaction between them. I will say this though, the art split is literally just like halfway through the book. It just changes to the second artist and stays that way till the end, and it is quite noticeable when it happens. I would say that I actively prefer the art in the first half over the second half.
Yeah, me too.
So it really did stick out when it got to that point. But yeah, obviously Wallace goes to Mr. Terrific for help. He tries to find him with some portal shenanigans. And they get there. It's all about this MacGuffin, this
sphere.
Yeah, this magic stone thing that can grant wishes, basically.
It's basically the Cosmic Cube, but it's a sphere. So it's a special sphere.
Yeah, there's not really not much to say about it, other than that the heroes get a hold of it and wish them all back home, and that's basically the end of it. But the little tease at the end is that Granny Goodness shows up and picks up the orb and is like, haha, my new recruitment tool, and it says to be continued. So we'll see where it goes with this. Maybe it's setting up the last arc that Adams is going to do with Flash. Maybe Wally will have to fight Goodness and some of her cronies, whoever they may be.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Maybe.
Or hell, maybe this is setting up some of his Green Lantern. Maybe this is going to pop back up there.
That was going to be my idea too, is that we're going to see some New God shenanigans in his Green Lantern.
Yeah, I could see that being the case.
Did you catch the kind of reference to the stuff going on in Stargirl and JSA? One of them mentions that weird island with Fairplay, who is terrific sidekick that got lost there.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I feel like, no one, I feel like that was an editorial telling Adams to put that in there. I feel like he just, kind of threw it in because of similar themes here. So, which I appreciate. But also foul play as a character. I love the idea of an evil, cheating Mr. Terrific, kind of like a Ric Flair version. So.
Yeah, no, it's a relatively fun issue. It's nice to see these characters bounce up. The kids have been one of the highlights of this Flash run in general, so I enjoyed those elements of it. The plot is relatively just kind of whatever, but I also like seeing these weird villains, these weird evil versions of some of the other characters. So it's a standalone little bit of fun. It was a decent good time. So the art shift halfway through does hurt the consistency.
Does impact it, yeah, for sure. I was going to ask about something else. Mineral Man, do we know if that's a real Animal Man villain? Or is that something new?
I have no idea.
We don't know because it feels real.
I mean, you take one look at him and he's wearing an Animal Man style outfit, but it's an M instead of an A, and so it's clear what he is, but
yeah, there is an animal vegetable Mineral Man. There's a supervillain who fights the Doom Patrol, so maybe that's a play on, but yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Weird. Anyways, it felt like everything felt right. So, just a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. Not going to break any, records or, set new ground, but a good bit of fun. What are you rating this issue of Flash?
I'm gonna give this a 7.
Yeah, I think 7's fair. I think it's good and enjoyable, but it doesn't, it's just a bit of fun, really, more than anything else. All right. Batman Superman World's Finest, issue 14, Mark Waid writing with Dan Mora on the art. Obviously, we have the whole death of Simon Stagg, or do we? As this issue might get into, which is not a surprise that Simon Stagg probably faked his death, or someone faked his death.
Someone faked his death.
And definitely wasn't. He faked his own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds, and where it leads to.
Wait, that sounded sarcastic from Connor. I'm not sure.
I fully expected to end up being that he's faked his own death.
Yeah, I would say it's still a very real possibility that he.
You feel that he's got a hand in wherever it's leading.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it led to, which I don't want to spoil quite yet, fits very well in with this whole Silver Agey kind of vibe that Waid and Moore have been going to, and it still feels like a tour of the DCU of a certain time. So I still appreciate it for that.
Yeah. We have what looks like. So we've got like an evil metamorpho by the end. It also traces back. It's like, okay, the person in the casket is not really a human body. It's like a robot with like a weird artificial brain or something. And it's like, okay, we think it may be Ivo that's behind this, but like he would maybe need help to pull this off. Yeah. So they go to the Metal Men creator. What's his name again?
Oh shit.
It definitely said it.
Magnus,
thank you.
Dr. Will Magnus. All I could keep thinking is him and his pipe.
So they go looking for him, and he's like missing, and seemingly all the Metal Men themselves are all they're all like T-1000 in the molten metal. They're all screaming for help.
I think it's curious that they kept talking crap about Mercury, how he'll always drop the fact on him.
He's so smug.
Yeah, that Mercury's the only liquid metal, or the only metal that's liquid at room temperature.
Yeah, that could be a foreshadowing for something down the line.
It could
be,
or it could just be that.
Yeah,
they think it's funny that he's that smug.
I mean, it could just be a bit of dick. The last issue ended, of course, with Jimmy insisting that they print a story about how Bruce Wayne is the lead suspect of the murder. So this issue starts with Bruce being like, "Clark, you dick, why did you publish this?"
Journalistic integrity.
Yeah, they did their due diligence, and it points to you, so it would be unethical to not print it.
Yeah. And then there's a random Oliver Queen scene, which is not that random in context of the whole issue, but it felt random at the time.
Yeah.
It felt so wrong too, because I'm like, Oliver Queen, since when is he this chummy with Bruce Wayne?
Yeah,
like, I always felt like there was a rivalry, and I was like, he's talking like a Hollywood agent.
Yeah, it didn't sound right, but that's actually all very intentional, because later on it's like, oh no, he's been replaced by some, robot imposter or whatever it is. So it's okay, someone's going after billionaires, maybe except Bruce, because now Bruce is a murder suspect. It won't benefit whoever's behind this kind of thing. Did you enjoy the panel of Robin riding on Superman's back?
That
was a weird look, yeah. Was not expecting it.
It's just a little... I feel like just being a little further up the back just would have looked a bit better. He's right on his ass, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hey, there's cushioning.
So he can't help it that Clark is caked up, right? That's the most comfortable place to sit.
Okay. I'll just, it stuck out, is all I'm saying. So yeah, we have them doing some investigation work and whatnot, fighting a robot, just, stuff on the way, but they eventually run into Metamorpho and get him kind of involved and try to investigate what's going on. And they're all kind of working together. Batman's even here at this point because he's been kind of hiding because he's supposed to, be publicly available so he looks less guilty of the murder.
Yeah, because if he goes and starts hiding in the Batcave and doing stuff, it'll look like Bruce Wayne's gone into hiding and being shady.
Yeah, I assume he has bail conditions to not run away.
Yes, of course he's going to anyway because he's Batman, but
they don't need to know that.
Yeah.
He's not going to. Matches Malone will, though.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There's no matches Malone in this issue. Match just cracking a weird reference.
But I'm just saying he could if Bruce needs to go out and investigate things and
he can go out as matches. No one will know. Bruce is still there.
Okay. So they end up in a the weird lab where all these robots skeletons have been made, and there's like a half finished Bruce. It's all very creepy. Good bit of atmosphere. Obviously the art from Mora's on point as ever. Batman and Metamorpho, they're the ones that go to the Metal Men's place, and we get these big molten vats where you realize that the Metal Men are in the vats all melted by the end of the page. Which honestly, just hearing this voice with a vague face in this liquid saying help us is actually quite creepy and sad. It's a nice mix of feelings. So the cliffhanger, though, is that Ivo seemingly has created... He was trying to basically create a double of Metamorpho, but the double would have to have all of his abilities. But he thought to himself, why stop there? Why not have a Metamorpho who can create even more elements? So we have a Metamorpho, an evil Metamorpho, who can create kryptonite, and he's got Superman down at the end. So that's the...
Because one of Metamorpho's limitations is that it has to be mineral or elements that are, in the human body.
Yes.
That he's able to manipulate. This evil Metamorpho doesn't have that same. It can be any type of element, including kryptonite, which I liked.
Way more dangerous.
Well, yeah, and it fits in with the whole Amazo thing. Amazo could copy the powers of the Justice League, because that's how I like how they bring in Will Magnus, is that Amazo was an imperfect android because it didn't have a mind of its own, and that Will Magnus, through the responsometers, that's what gives the Metal Men their personalities. So it's almost like this thing is a fusion of those two, and that maybe that's where Will Magnus is. He's being, having, he's being forced to make new responsometers for this type of thing. That's why the Metal Men ended up in the vats, to keep them out of it. But yeah.
Well, I think that's what
fun issue.
I think that's what Batman brings up, is like, why wouldn't the Metal Men protect them? And then it's like, it's because they've been neutralized somehow. He's done something to them. Honestly, I mean, this just continues to be a really pulpy sort of fun book. I do, as much as I was joking about Robin riding on Superman's back, I do kind of love that. Okay, Batman can't really leave and go anywhere. He's like, you need a detective, and like Robin's already there. He's like, I've got one. I think this exploration of like Superman just teaming up with Robin sometimes is kind of nice. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, I always like that too. That Clark is as much of a mentor to Dick as
it was always
Bruce
like
was.
Dick's hero, so it makes sense that they spend some time together.
Yeah, but I just we have a book that can actually focus on that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a good time, and obviously the art from Dan Mora is just constantly very sharp, very vivid. Like everything's.
You're telling me Dan Mora puts out good art?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, what are we rating this, Matt?
8.5 for me.
All right.
I'll go with just the 8, I think. But I had a lot of fun with it still.
Yeah. I'll just go straight 8 as well, I think. But that's very good. Like I very consistent read every month as World's Finest. So cool. Batgirls issue 17. Becky, Cloonan, and Michael Conrad writing, with Robbi Rodriguez on the art. So this is, well, it's the start of a new arc, really. It's
post the the evil family
I
members.
thought Matt
right?
tapped out on this book.
No, I'm going. I keep going.
Did he say he was going to tap out and then decide he was just going to read it?
Yeah, but then I had a little bit of extra time this week, and I was like, let's hop
that
into
makes sense.
the background.
Matt's changed his story every time. Last time he said he was going to keep reading it, so he's full of shit even right now.
No, I'm not. If I didn't have time, this would have been the one that got dropped. But I had time because people expect me to read the Connor Kent book, so
Yeah.
But,
well.
Yeah. So, anyways,
now that you've read the Connor Kent book, that should be the one you drop next time, though.
maybe not.
Oh, you just know Matt loved it.
Oh, of course he did. All right, Batgirls. This issue, it's a really interesting setup, actually. So, Steph and Cass are at the park. It's like the annual festival in the springtime in the hill. The podcaster journalist chick is doing some interviews around the place
about gentrification. And people just aren't getting it.
Yeah, and they're basically having a good time, and then there's some noises and a gunshot, and it becomes clear there's a sniper on a roof. It basically starts off the same way as God Told Me To, which is a fantastic little movie from the 70s. I highly recommend it. But so the girls who are not in costume, they were just out as civvies. They get everyone to safety inside the bookstore run by the I don't know if I know his name, but we've seen the guy before.
Wasn't he involved in the Ripper story?
Well, we saw him a couple of times, Matt. That's the point I was going to make, is that they've done a good job of establishing some like minor characters.
The Hill as a neighborhood feels like a
It's the same guy who he was wearing a turban, and he gave Cass like advice on what books to read, and then recommended some books to her in one issue. So they've done a good job at doing that, and it's like, okay, we actually know where this is. This location means something to us because they've already set it up during the run, which is really nice. So obviously the girls, sneak out and get into costume and go looking for the sniper. And they're concerned that the podcaster Grace, her cameraman, wasn't in the bookstore, so she got really worried that he's out there somewhere hurt. And they find him, and he is hurt. He's hurt on a rooftop somewhere. So they chase after the sniper, and Cass sort of like tracks the trajectory of the bullets and where they came from. But when she gets to the location, the sniper's not there. There's nothing. So it's like, okay, this is interesting. We've set up this big dramatic opening.
Who is skilled enough to escape Cassandra Cain? Right? Like, she's pretty good at this counter stuff, right? Like,
yeah, but it was from a distance, though. That's the thing. It's like, whoever had time to get away. So Montoya's there briefly, and it's like Cass is like kind of like personally annoyed that they got away. She's like, next time, she looks kind of. The art's very good in showing that she's very pissed off by it. And thanks for that noise, Google Teams or whatever you call it.
Yep.
Maybe you should have paid more attention to your time.
I thought we could squeeze another one in. So basically, shut up.
That's the most dismissive I've ever heard Pete. He's been
because he knows he's wrong.
I would have if you weren't dumb.
Like, can we just stay on topic here?
Yeah, let's get through this back overview.
So yeah, the girls are training, and they're waiting for like the next thing to go down. And we see one of the big plot points in the middle of this is that Grace is like so distraught over what happened to her cameraman, and she feels so unsafe that she actually goes looking to the black market to buy a gun for protection. And that's one of the plot points here. And the two Batgirls are up on a rooftop, they're looking around, and they actually end up running into the meeting where Grace is buying this gun, because they find these criminals who are selling stuff, and basically they're like concerned that these bad guys, these gangs or whatever, are profiting off of people's fear, that they're selling stuff in this time of crisis.
Well, it's the fact that they want to make people safe, but they're not going about it the right way, right? So they're just making more problems in the long run.
Oh yeah, in like a macro sense, sure, but like specifically, this like, oh no, these guys are like profiteering off of the fear and the hysteria because of something dangerous going on. And as they point out, adding more guns to the mix isn't exactly going to make anything better, especially since this sniper is like from such a distance that like, who are you going to actually shoot? Like, you're not going to see them with your handgun or shotgun. Like, they're miles away.
Yeah.
So the girls intervene, they beat up the bad guys or the punks, and right as this is happening, we cut to whoever this sniper is at a window, and we see that they've got Steph in the crosshairs. But then they redirect and they aim at one of the bad guys, and the gunshot rings out. And all of a sudden, again, we're ducking and diving behind tombstones, because this is all taking place in a cemetery.
And the graveyard. A really cool location for this.
Yeah, and I love the tension of this. It all felt really kind of on edge. It felt like the Batgirls were really trying to like sneak around. And it became this really interesting tactic where after they dump all the gang members in like an open grave, because you'll be safe down there.
Yeah.
Basically, we have Steph like standing up and like talking and basically being a bright distraction for the sniper, whilst Cass is trying to get to whoever it is.
To sneak around, right?
Yeah. So Cass has got into super sneak mode. She's got up really fast, grappling up the building, while Steph is being kind of this intentional target. And this is all really nice. Like Cass especially running up the buildings, like all the backgrounds are purple, the city's purple in the background. And she gets up to wherever the sniper was. The sniper's gone yet again, which we know Cass was determined to catch them. So there's already some meaning to the reader here, and this means something, that Cass missed them yet again. But the final panel, the cliffhanger, is 3 sniper bullets and then a note that says 1 for each Batgirl. So this is directly related to them. So whoever this is probably knows who they really are, because the first time they struck was when they were at this, like,
in civilian.
Yeah, they were at this, like, concert in the park, and they were in civilian clothes. So whoever it is knows who they are, and this is personal. So I assume this will make sense, whoever it is, when they reveal it later in the arc. It did kind of look like it might be a woman based on the silhouette, but it could just be a guy with long hair as well, admittedly. But I suspect it's someone from probably earlier in the run, just because it makes sense to me for it to be that.
Yeah, it seems like it's because it wasn't the biker gang selling the guns also from the earlier part of the run.
I think they popped up before, yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they're bringing this all
around.
In
fact, didn't they steal the car from them? Or
I believe so.
Yeah, I think that would have been them. Yeah, I really liked this issue, actually. I thought it was a really strong start of a new arc that gave us some real danger, right? It really felt like, all the ducking and hiding from the sniper was a really simple, effective way to have tension. But then you have this personal side of it where Cass is pissed she didn't catch the sniper, and then at the end it's really personal because now the sniper is specifically toying with them, specifically coming after the Batgirls. And so, and the art's pretty good too. I really like the especially all the stuff in the cemetery in the last.
Yeah, the cemetery stuff I thought was a really inspired action sequence. I don't really think of that in comics, because like it was a kind of very sneaky, with Cass going amongst the tombstones, tracking the trajectory of the bullets and stuff. So
yeah, and then the
really stood out.
The other little detail at the end that I really liked as well is that Babs cuts the power to the cemetery, so all the street lights in the cemetery all go out to try and give Cass some cover and make it hard for the sniper to see them. I like that. It felt like they were all sort of working together. They were trying to save people, even the gang at the end. It's like, we still have to save these guys. We can't just let them die either. So you've got a good mix of like good tense sequences. You've got the Batgirls being fun and sort of bantery still, but not as much because they're in a more serious situation.
Yeah.
And
I'm still enjoying the voice for Cass too, because she's absolutely. When you're reading her.
She quotes Edgar Allan Poe at one point, and that's become this running thing because she's been reading a lot. She starts quoting some classic stories and stuff.
Didn't she do Shakespeare in one of the last arcs?
Yeah, she did the Shakespeare quote.
Yeah.
So I actually kind of dig that as a little character trait, is that she's she's speaking more, but because she's reading a lot of classic books and stuff, she's sort of like quoting things. So she's like, she sounds like Cass when she's speaking normally, but she'll throw in a quote from like a.
See, not reading this, it just sounds like a Bumblebee in the Transformers movies.
I mean, yeah, but she's not using it as
it's only one. It's one quote in the entire issue. It's not. It's not.
And it's
not every line.
And it has to do with what's going on, because it's a quote about fear, and from a Poe story and whatnot. But no, I like that with because this is a girl that was raised to fight, and right, so her brain works in that type of way. So she can pick these quotes and stuff from the things she's read, like she can, martial arts moves. And so I feel like it really builds to her character. And I'm excited to see how this carries, if any of this carries over into her Spirit World book. Well, I know it's not her book, but she's going to be featured in it.
I mean, yeah, hopefully the creative team in that are paying attention to this run and seeing what's been done previously. It's always nice when that consistency is there. But no, honestly, it's a shame that it's ending with issue 20, because I feel like it's done nothing but get better, basically. But everything after the first arc, I think, has been relatively good to great at times. And I think this was another good issue that just felt like a really cool little story idea. So, I dug it a lot. Nice, consistent art, very expressive, fits the tone of the book. Nice, threatening new villain that's simple and effective, which is the total opposite of that first arc where there was like 5 villains and all this interlocking stuff. This is really simple and like dangerous, and just get a lot of good thrills out of it. So, Matt, what are you rating Batgirls issue 17?
I'm gonna give this a straight 8.
I think I'll go as high as an 8.5 on this, to be honest. I really enjoyed this. So there you go. That's Batgirls. Superboy, The Man of Tomorrow, issue 1. Kenny Porter writing with Jahnoy, Lindsay on the art. This is the winner of last year's round robin tournament, which is not a round robin, but that's a debate that we've had many times before. Right. So this is 6th issue Connor Kent book, which is a lot more in continuity than I was expecting it to be. It's actually addressing the fact that he was erased from reality and he's back now.
He's looking for his own relevancy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
where do I fit in the super family now?
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say like you, Connor. You're struggling for relevancy.
I mean every day, but that's a separate thing.
Sits close to home.
Yeah, I think.
But I like that though, because he's like, well, John's now older, and there's Kara, and we have these kids now. Like, what do I do?
Well, the kids aren't there yet, because it specifically says it's before Action Comics 1050. But I wasn't like, this wasn't bad by any means, but I wasn't that into it, because I felt like the setup was interesting enough. Him feeling misplaced because like the other supers are all there to deal with everything was fine. But once after that, when it was basically just he goes to somewhere else in the universe, onto a planet, to try and find a purpose to go and help someone, which is fine. But then it just became, he's fighting these aliens, and there's
just felt like, we need action for an issue.
Yeah.
Because it's issue 1, so there has to be a lot of action.
So that's most of the issue, and I was just kind of bored by all that.
Well, and the aliens that he's fighting, I'm not that interested in, like this Dominator clone regiment and stuff. I'm like, that's fine, I guess. I just don't want to see him fighting versions of stuff that we're used to.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where we're gonna go.
It didn't feel like there was any real concept to it. It was just kind of like he needs something to fight, so here, this is it. Rather than there's a hook, there's a gimmick, there's something that is exciting for future issues. I never felt that.
Here's a Despero clone that has a gun as his third eye, and here's here's, which from one of my all-time favorite Green Lantern Corps stories was, I forget the species she is, but it's the butterfly-looking clone. That was the one that teamed up with Guy in the Undercover story from Dave Gibbons that I love so much. She's one of those. There he is. But yeah, so I mostly enjoyed it. I mean, it's just a lot of super family in space right now, coming off of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and then Superman Lost. And now this.
I feel like Supergirl though, like presented a story though. It was like
well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
I just like I wouldn't have pitched this as a Connor Kent story, knowing that we were in the middle of that, right? Like, because that at least her,
But the people demanded that they get this story.
Did they though? Did they demand?
I mean,
allegedly,
there was a vote, so who knows?
Yeah.
But like, I don't necessarily mind that it's a Connor Kent story in space.
Yeah.
I just felt like it didn't do anything to be like, here's the hook of this story. Here's why you want to come back to it, because we've set up this simple idea. It just kind of felt like, here's a bunch of characters, and then there's this team that show up at the end that are going to be his allies, presumably.
The Cosmeteers.
And I took one look at this team and went, yeah, I don't need to read any more of this. This just looks boring as shit to me.
I'm going to see how long I can go on this. This is going to be my Connor and the Red Hood experiment.
I will probably just wait, and I'll probably read the full 6-issue thing when it's just all out on DC Infinite.
Yeah.
It's that sort of story where I'm like, I can see it being a perfectly fine evening trade.
Yeah, I feel like a hypocrite if I sit there and complain that we don't have a Connor Kent story and then don't give it at least 2 issues, you know? So
you did ask for one for at least 5 years.
I did. Not this though. Not him finding his purpose, which it was so silly.
How dare he have a purpose?
Well, not just that. It's him going to Helix and being like, where can I help out? And like, oh, well, every other team is working on something. There's nothing for you.
Joe,
so he goes to look in the galaxy as if the Green Lantern Corps don't exist.
Joe, I felt was weird about that as well, is the panel where it showed you, Supergirl's got this place covered, Superman's got this place covered. One of the ones that showed you was his Young Justice team, and I'm like, that's your team. You could just be with them.
Yeah. But and even if as a writer, have him comment on like, I need something for me. Like he needs to get his mojo back, not team with Young Justice. So
yeah.
Also, I'm not a big fan of the high fade leather jacket look.
Sure. Well, not quite the same, but I'm not a huge fan of the art. I would say, like, it's not terrible or anything, but I'm not a fan of the style of the faces throughout.
I don't have a big problem with that.
I don't either. I think the aliens look okay. I think anything with like back on Earth was a little bit weird.
The humans don't look good.
The people, yeah.
The people. But I thought like the one page in Smallville with Montauk Kent, I thought that all looked very rustic and okay. Like I thought they looked fine. But yeah, so I'm not disappointed. But again, I wasn't like I didn't have it built up.
You're not disappointed. You're just angry.
No. So, but yeah, looking forward to see what other kinds of clones that we get, because they were all super stoked to have, someone with Kryptonian DNA.
Yeah, it felt like the basics of like, okay, let's explore what Connor Kent is going through for the first chunk of the issue, and then it just became a lot of filler and set up for more like these characters in space, and I'm like, this just all feels like a bunch of filler story to me. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really feel anything for this.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah. And there was also, I guess they're doing backups in these of like the runner-ups where they get like a little 8-page story at the end.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't read it.
I didn't read it either.
I didn't look. I got to the end of the story. And I was
one
like,
of the Green Lantern ones, though, right?
Yeah, it was the lantern at the end of the.
It was the less interesting of the two lantern ones.
Yeah. But at the end it said next time this one, so I think they're going to be doing this in every issue. Like all the semi-finalists or whatever are all going to get a little 8-page thing.
Yeah.
Which fair enough, makes enough sense. But not for me. I think fundamentally is what I'd say. Matt, what are you rating Superboy: The Man of Tomorrow?
I'll give this a 6.5.
All right, Connor.
Just a 6. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think 6 is fair. I won't go any lower because it's not bad, but I just felt a bit fluffy to me. All right, DCeased: War of the Undead Gods, issue 8. Tom Taylor writing with Trevor Hairsine and Lucas Meyer on the art, which is the same backup artist or secondary artist as the last issue as well. Mm-hmm. So this is the conclusion to all of DCeased, seemingly, and features Damian sacrificing himself to stop the virus from ever coming back, which they did a neat thing here where it tied into something Green Arrow said way back in the first DCeased about how Batman can't be taken out with the virus. Batman's going to like sacrifice himself to take out some god or something. And sure enough, Damian goes out that way.
As
by
Batman. Does he specifically say you're not going to be taken out by a virus? You're the type that's going to...
No, he says Batman.
He says Batman?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it still fits here because now Damian's Batman.
It's all Batman.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, basically, he takes the life equation from Cyborg's head and collides that with Erebus.
Erebus.
I keep wanting to say
Erebus.
I keep wanting to say Ouroboros, but it's not Ouroboros.
Erebus. It's the name of one of the ships from the Terror.
Oh, very good.
Well, I just thought that might be a way for you to remember it. It's a bit late now, but
I don't know. It's so close to Ouroboros. So that's all I want to say. But basically, this will create a new universe because the collision of these two ideas is just going to go a big bang, effectively. So a lot of this is the John saying goodbye and the conflict. He obviously has a goodbye moment with Cass. We don't really know yet that he's going to sacrifice himself, but I kind of got that feeling. It just felt like it was going that way.
From the moment where she's like, you're not letting me in. Can't trust you to tell me what's going on.
Yeah. And of course, Alfred as the Spectre also sort of like commiserating. Like I've enjoyed this. War of the Undead Gods a reasonable amount. It's probably been the weakest of the minis out of all DCeased, just because at this point it's a little bit older. It feels like it's doing some interesting ideas, but the emotion is not quite as there. I do think there was a couple of beats in this final issue that felt like it was there again, just a little bit. Like I thought that final page where Alfred Spectre like visits this new universe that was created, and he sees like the shape of the bat symbol and like the stars. I was
and
like,
cosmos.
I was like, okay, that's kind of sweet. It was a nice touch to that.
Well, and it's his narration, right? He says, "My bats, my sons, my whole universe." Yeah, that's there. Also, John sitting next to Damian, and he goes, "You can't save me." And John's like, "Yeah, I get that. I just thought I'd sit here so you're not alone." Oh my God, their friendship. Like,
yeah.
So,
I think that was the thing. Like, the ideas in this many have been so big and broad, and like every issue has ended with a big, huge like, oh, now Darkseid's a Yellow Lantern, or now Alfred's a Spectre, and they've been fun. Jesus, Matt.
My bad. That's my reminder to take my medicine alarm.
Anyway, yeah, but like I think almost that the actual character stuff maybe get lost a little bit in the shuffle in this mini. Arguably, it should have even been a couple issues longer to like fit more of that in and flesh some of those more personal side things out. But I did feel some of it was here in this final issue again. It kind of was like, oh yeah, this has always been here. Taylor obviously knows what he's doing. I wonder if this was just I think I saw him tweet about how he had tons of like pages that he wrote that never made it in, like more character stuff.
Someone was like, someone tried down. Yeah, someone tried to call him out for not including Talia and someone else.
It's 8 issues.
I know.
How much can you actually get in there?
Yeah, and he goes, I know I had an intention, but I had to go with what the main story was, not the side story. So
I mean, I get it. It's the sort of thing where maybe if it had been like a 12-issue series to send it off and they had more time to do that stuff. But I mean, as it is, the big beats play fairly well. But
definitely,
it's it's got a sweet ending that kind of caps everything up. And I also think as well the way it was spread out over time. Like I think if you probably read all of DCeased in like an omnibus down the line, I think it will probably,
which they will definitely publish.
Oh, I assume they will.
Yeah.
I imagine it'll probably be a very good read. And there's some fun action stuff. They have to rip a hole, in like space time to bring War World through.
Yeah, and they technically have to die.
Yeah,
for a minute, and
so Cyborg stops all their hearts so they can travel through the Doom Tube. But they also have to. All of the people with like laser powers or whatever all have to make this open in Erebus, and then Lobo like slices it and makes it a bigger. Yeah. They keep talking again. What's the word with the use of the word crack in these comics? They keep talking about.
You know what I think it was? I think that Tom Taylor had read the Infinite Justice League Infinite
Frontier, yes.
Yeah, and that, or wasn't Darkseid's crack in the Justice League Incarnate? Because that was the prelude to everything.
It was one. Yeah, it was part of that whole thing. I don't remember which one it was. Come on now.
I think he read that and went, "This is a funny joke. I'm going to use it now." So
quite possibly is what happened. Yeah.
Especially since the way it comes up is like, oh, we're going to have to make a crack to fit in Warworld, and then someone else says that's a pretty big crack.
Yeah.
Hey, it was a pretty big crack.
Yes, it was a huge crack.
Well, I like how the Black Racer has to, I think it's him and Lobo have to basically insult Ares' manhood enough to make him go to take on Erebos.
Yeah, because Ares and the Black Racer are the ones that kind of distract Erebus whilst the others.
And Ares gets decapitated.
Yeah, because war. Well, and I like that too. That's another big story plot point. Is it, death always follows war. So I'm gonna follow you here. We go hand in hand. And it's the old god with the new god. A lot of balance, playing out. So.
Yeah.
It's a really solid ending, and there's nothing to complain about. It's just not. It's not like the most exciting book at this point.
No,
I mean it's still going to be. We say this every time we talk about this book. It's still not going to beat the Tree Lobsters. No,
it's got no chance
with all of that. Emotion and ties to all that. So.
Yeah, I did think the callback to the Green Arrow line from that first arc was very well done, and
yes,
it's the sort of thing where. Like, a lot of the other families of characters have got a second chance now because a lot of them have come back and they're kind of happy families. But the bats all did die. Like, all of the bats went. So, this kind of, like, symbol of, like, this new universe got created out of the Batman and the Bat family was kind of a touching moment.
Yeah.
It worked quite well. I thought the ending was kind of a nice, poignant little touch. But, it probably is a good time to move on now and he's got obviously the Titans book alongside Nightwing now, so Taylor's going to have his hands busy with some proper ongoing comics.
Yeah, I think he does these in cycles where he does his little side jaunts and he goes and writes the main continuity stuff, and then maybe we'll get to another side jaunt. Once this Titan stuff gets enough.
Obviously, he's finishing off Dark Knight of Steel. I can see there being more in that universe before anything else starts up.
Yeah,
I
think
possibly.
Obviously, there's been delays. I suspect probably the art more than anything. It feels like there's a lot in that world to do side things in, just to do other things in that time period in that world. Yeah. And
well, I mean, just the entire story of Black Canary. I want to see that play out in that world.
Yeah.
So what led her to be locked up? So where she started, but no. So I definitely think we'll have him on Nightwing, him on Titans, probably for a minute, and then we'll get more, because there's also Superman's winding down too. So I feel like he always has at least 2 or 3 books going. So maybe he'll take a break. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Titans and Nightwing are ongoing, so I mean, if anything, it would just be swapping either one of his Elseworlds for a new book, or maybe the Superman book for a new book.
Right.
But yeah, but no, solid enough ending, and now DCeased is all done. You can go and enjoy it for its complete thing. And I do wonder if you read it all closer together in one big sitting. Not literally in one sitting, but over a week or something like that. I imagine it'd probably read quite well as one big story now.
Remember when he was that people will do very soon.
Yeah. So you remember when he was teasing this, and we're like, "What is it going to be?" And then how it was pitched was DC Zombies, and at least I was kind of like, "Oh," and it ends up being like this really nice story throughout.
Well, it was a lot of heart in it. He knew how to pull on the strings.
I think it's because when you think zombies in comics, with Big Two, you're thinking of the what was that Marvel one that they did?
Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, but then there's that and the Deadpool one as well, right? That they did more recently.
Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, you end up thinking things like that.
Right.
And not all of them are fine, but this actually had some heart to it that the rest of them didn't.
Right.
Kind of made it stand out amongst the crowd of that style of story.
But I just remember us being like, "Oh, Tom Taylor has an announcement for a new book."
I also wonder if the reason why we're not as excited about it with this last arc is not just because of DCeased itself, but just because they've done so many other Elseworld style stories in the last couple of years. Darkness of Steel, of course, by Taylor himself as well, but also vampires, also DC Mech, also Jurassic League. Like, it feels like they've went to that well a bit too frequently in the last few years.
Starts to feel less special.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Some of them are like still really good though. Like not all of them are great, but I think none of them have been bad that I can remember.
No, but that's not what I'm talking about though. I'm just saying that it's too much, and if you get too much of something too close together, it starts to feel like you feel tired by it. You feel fatigued.
Yeah. I mean, I never finished DC Mech, but it wasn't egregiously
I did.
bad.
I had by the end, I think I had more fun with that than I did the Jurassic League, just because it didn't have a bunch of art swaps.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Vampires, on the other hand, I was upset that I finished that book.
The second half of that,
I still have not finished it. I just can't bring myself to bother with the last issue.
It's a shame because the first half of it was genuinely quite good, and then the second half is clearly not written by the same. It does feel like Tynion,
whatever his outline was, didn't get far enough for them to.
Yeah, either that or he actually had already kind of written maybe some of the scripts for the first six, more of them at least, and then the back half was all completely, Rosenberg or whoever, and I don't know, but it went off a cliff in the second half, which was a real shame.
Yeah.
Anywho, Matt, what are you rating DCeased War of the Undead Gods issue 8?
I'm gonna give this a 7.5.
Connor?
I'm gonna give it a straight 7, but still enjoyable.
You sound so happy about it.
No, that's the thing. I sound really negative on this in comparison to previous issues, but I still think it's a good read. It just didn't blow my mind as the ending of the DCeased saga.
I think the heart in this one probably made me like this more than any other issue in this particular miniseries. And more of the Undead Gods. That said, I'm still only going to go 7.5, I think. But, the bits I liked, I really liked. So, cool. Every month at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, you can make myself or Connor read a book, one of the higher tiers, and Connor is going to talk about Undiscovered Country issue redacted, because you didn't tell me.
23. Yes, it was 23.
Yes. Matt, stop clicking your mouse.
I'm letting you move it away. Sorry, I'm looking at covers now.
He's prepping. God, let him prep in peace.
That damn prepper.
I can definitely see Matt as a prepper. Can you not?
Guys, you act like I know what I'm having for dinner in 3 days.
No, but you also have a vibe of you're so unprepared for the next week, but if something goes down, you're prepared for the next year.
Oh, he's got toilet paper and stuff just stocked up.
Do you know what that's called? Having an anxiety disorder. So thanks for laughing, Connor.
Yeah, you prick.
Well, maybe just no, suck it up.
Also, it's not me that plans all that stuff. It's my wife. So yes, we have a lot of toilet paper and paper towels, but that's because of her. Also, when you eat as much Mexican food as I do, you kind of need extra paper around. So,
no, I get it. After we introduced a new quote unquote spicy burger at work, and having that 4 days a week. Yeah. Oh, I see why you need extra. I
told the story about how you accidentally ate an entire Pringles tin of sour cream and onion.
I was drunk.
I know. Made yourself violently sick. So
I was drunk and forgot that they contain milk.
Yep. So tell us about Undiscovered Country while I look at covers.
Yeah. So we're still in this history arc. I think there's one issue left. Because it definitely feels like it's reached a conclusion now. The two timelines are starting to come together, but it's still a little bit kind of wavy as to what the purpose is. So in one timeline, it's the Graves. They've kind of got the cure. And it's like, oh, yeah, we can kind of get out now. And in the other timeline, you've got Janet and Chang being like, nope, we've got an empire here. And it's like, oh, and to stop the empire, and then there's older versions of Janet and Chang coming to see the younger ones, being like, oh yeah, so we know you saw that whole American Empire version, but don't worry, That's not what makes you so anti-American. It's what we're going to show you now. That's what you really hate. But before they can reveal it, we don't actually get to see what it is that they were going to convert them to their cause with, to convert their younger selves. Because Ace, who's been to see Alder Graves, again, multiple timelines, has got a upgraded version of his robot, which has now been upgraded into a big mech suit. And he just, the end of the issue is Ace clattering in with the mech suit and interrupting, Janet and Chang, showing younger Janet and Chang the shocking revelation that will kind of push them over the edge into being truly anti-American. I hope we do get to see what it is, even if the characters don't. So I think you don't want to show young Janet and Chang in case it has the same effect. You don't want to just repeat the cycle. You got to break the cycle. But I do want to see what it is, just because I'm really interested in what kind of pushed them that far. Be really fascinating. And then I really want to see how they get out of this zone, because again, it's the first zone that's felt really aimless in terms of how they progress. All the rest have had a clear objective. We do this thing, and then we will get a key, and then we will find the door. That's how we get to it. It just feels like they're bouncing back and forth in timelines. There's loops. There's different versions of the characters running around now. Some are dead. It's kind of wild, and it's not that it's necessarily hard to keep track of. It's that it just, like I say, it feels a little aimless. Like I don't know quite what the purpose is still, and I feel like we're getting to the end of the arc now, and it's still just there. It's just doing things. So I'm really hoping when it comes together, it comes together really in a satisfying way, because the issue's still good and it's a solid read. And I think if it lands it and comes together, it'll go from being this was an okay arc to a good arc to, okay, this will actually be a really great arc if it can kind of tie it all together in a satisfying resolution, which is a big ask, but it's a talented team on the book, so I have no reason to doubt that they can do it. But yeah, no, I think solid issue, still enjoyable, still just kind of feel like I'm waiting though until we get to the end of this arc, or to find out how this arc's going to end. But as it is, yeah, it's like a 7 out of 10.
All right. Well, that'll take us out the part of the show. We pick our favorite stuff of the week, favorite panel/moment, favorite cover, favorite art, and top 5 books. And for the first time in like 3 weeks, we actually have enough books to do a full top 5. So, yeah. All right. Moment of the week, Matt. What you got?
In Nightwing, I did love the reveal at the end of Super Nightwing. However, the one that tugged at the heartstrings the most was John sitting next to Damien as he's getting ready to sacrifice himself for the universe. So that's gonna be mine.
All right, Connor.
Cyborg's "This Is Hell" moment. that cracked me up.
Yeah, I actually think I'm going to go with DCeased as well. I'm going to go with the ending though. I'm going to go with the bat signal and the stars. Yeah. So that was nice. Cover of the week. There's a few good ones. Nightwing's got a couple of good ones. Flash's regular cover's good. Superman's got a Matina one that's fairly
pretty. I don't like that Matina one.
No?
No, I like the objective kind of art of it. I don't know. It feels really dark, and it feels like a Batman cover. Just but we put Superman on it.
Well, it's Parasite Superman though. That's the point.
Yeah, but it's just the way it's lit. I don't know.
Fair enough. Anyway, but I think Batgirls has 2 great covers. I like the regular one, which is just sort of the Batgirls sort of stacked on top of each other with the clock behind them. But I particularly like the way Cass is doing kind of like Dracula pose with her hands. She's got her hands up like she's sneaking up on someone. I like it from like a sort of cartoony Batman kind of way. But there is a Marquez variant of Steph, which is very, very pretty, which I think is my choice. But it was almost the regular cover, actually. It's nice how that has 2 really good covers. So, cool. What you got, Connor?
This is the first week in a long time where I haven't had like a lot of covers that I think are great. I think there's only like 2 or 3 that really stuck out to me. One's the Simone DeMeo variant on Batman Superman, which I think is nice.
Mhm.
But I think the only cover that I really, really like a lot is the Megan Huang cover for Superman. It's the one with the big fish. I just think it's just stunning.
Big fish.
The big pink and white fish in space, like space fish.
Oh, okay. That's what that is.
I've already closed my tab.
It has no relevance at all for the issue, but
No, it's like a big space whale.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember a big fish in the.
There's not, but it's a gorgeous cover.
Matt?
So I really like the main Superman cover from Jamal Campbell. I also like the Superboy Man of Tomorrow with Connor and his dumb leather jacket. But mine's gonna be the Nicola Scott Nightwing variant. It's got Dick and Superman, looking classic as always. So
Okay. Connor, what's your art of the week?
Oh, that is a good question.
there's one answer.
It's Dan Mora, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, Jamal Campbell does a good job.
There you go.
But Dan Mora.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is probably Dan Mora, but obviously Jamal Campbell's good. I'll also give a shout out to Robbi Rodriguez for Batgirls. I thought that was a really fun, book for art. It's very stylized, obviously, but it's very consistent and always kind of fun and pulpy and fits the tone of the characters. So really good. Yeah. And Mirror on Nightwing was pretty solid too. Matt, what you got?
Yeah, I like more on Nightwing a lot. It was but if we're going as the full book, the backup art was fine from that's Pentica, right? But not enough all the way through. It's gonna be Dan Mora for World's Finest, edging out Campbell and Superman.
Wasn't there just 2 artists on the main story for Nightwing anyway?
I think it was just Mora, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was just Mora.
No, Vasco Georgiev art pages 5 and 13 to 18.
Oh shoot. Okay, well then I feel
Fair
even
enough.
better with the Dan Mora for World's Finest.
All right, fair enough.
I assume that's the Themyscirus pages.
I would assume so as well.
All right, Matt, what's your top 5 of the week?
All right, so let me bring those back up because I was already getting up. Number 1's gonna be World's Finest. 2 is Nightwing. 3 is Superman. 4 is Flash. No, 4 is Batgirls, and 5 is the Flash.
All right, Connor.
I think my first is probably Batman Superman. No, Nightwing, then Batman Superman. Then DCeased. Then Superboy, and then Superman.
Okay. My number 1 is probably Batgirls. Number 2, World's Finest. Number 3, Nightwing. Number 4, no. Number 4, DCeased. Number 5, Flash. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with that. So there you go. Those are favorites of the week. I'll tell you what's coming next week from DC Comics. Coming up next week, we have Detective Comics 1071, Action Comics 1054, Harley Quinn 29, Green Arrow issue 1. We have The Riddler Year 1 issue 4, Unstoppable Doom Patrol issue 2. Quite enjoyed issue 1, so looking forward to more of that. Tim Drake Robin issue 8, Lazarus Planet Revenge of the Gods issue 4, Blue Beetle Graduation Day issue 6, The Sandman Universe The Dead Boy Detectives issue 5, and DC Ruby issue 3. So a little quieter than this week, but not as quiet as the last couple of weeks.
Really hard to be excited for Green Arrow when it's Williamson.
That's
Yes.
Green Arrow though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Aye, but it's still Williamson.
Yeah.
At least I'm not reading Robin, so.
Yeah, screw you.
Tim Drake Robin, you say? What's
Yes.
Tim Drake, the best Robin. Wait, is it still Rosmo?
I don't know.
It's not Rosmo.
Hey.
Yeah, and Connor should be back on the show next week. So
all plans are currently scheduled.
Way to threaten the listeners.
I know.
I mean, I'm not in work, and Paige is not in the country. So if I'm not here, something has gone horrifically wrong.
She got cold feet and fled.
Yeah. It's definitely what happened.
That's what I'm thinking.
There you are.
But that is the show. That has been the episode of Comics from the Multiverse. Thank you very much for joining us. We have had an awkward recording time today. All sorts of technical difficulties, having to use a new video call software to get it done. So if there's been any hiccups, if audio levels aren't quite as perfect as normal, apologies. Did the best on the fly that we could.
Hey, at least we had a microphone for me.
Yes, that was the problem, is that for some reason Skype refused to accept that Connor had a mic.
I think what really frustrated me is Skype did accept I had a mic. It showed it receiving audio to me. It just wasn't sending that.
Yes. To paraphrase Home Alone, Connor, you're such a disease. So that is the show. Thank you very much for joining us. We always appreciate that. You can support all the content over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. One of the tiers you can get this show a little bit early. But otherwise, that is us. You can, of course, also like, subscribe, ding the bell for notifications on YouTube, or get us on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. But thank you very much for joining us once again. We always appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Keep reading DC Comics, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.